Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Hokage. Can't learn ninjutsu. I'll just practice immortality. Chapter 61. These civilians were held behind by Ronin with knives, and they could only walk forward slowly, looking at Asakawa Naoki and others with eyes full of pleading. Don't kill me. Please, I still want to live. Listening to the pleadings of the civilians who were used as a shield for human flesh, even ninjas like Minato Namikaze felt a little emotional, not to mention a naturally kind and emotional hot-blooded boy like Naoki. If you have the ability, don't use these villagers as a shield. Haha, kid, haven't you ever heard that a soldier never tires of deceit? A Ronin mocked. Aren't you very powerful with shurikens? Keep throwing. Another Ronin laughed. You just killed so many of us, why don't you continue now? Come on. Try whether your shurikens will hit us first or kill them first. Ronin shook the civilians in his hands and said angrily. But even with such ridicule, none of the 9 ninjas took action. Although they who passed the ninja school assessment could hit a wooden stake 20 meters away with a 70% hit rate, they could directly kill a dozen Ronin just now. But in the situation just now, there are enemies in front of you, so you only need to throw the shuriken with all your strength. Even if you miss, it will be fine. Now the enemy uses civilians as shields. If they miss, those civilians will be injured or even killed. In this case, even Namikaze Minato, who scored perfect marks in the shuriken throwing technique, could not easily do it. Even though Namikaze Minato was a born ninja, he still had trouble making a choice when it came to humanity and sacrifice. As a group of rogues entered the throwing range, they became more and more aggressive, and at the same time they became more careful, trying to hide their figures behind civilians. Hateful. Naoki and Masamura Oki were both ready to take out their swords and rush forward to fight the Ronin head-on. The other people also had this idea in mind. Since you can't use shurikens, fight in close combat and kill the Ronin with the sword in your hand. These little devils are still a little too young and have too little experience. Jiraiya, who was standing on a branch watching the battle, was ready to take action at any time. Meeting a Ronin on his first mission, and without an experienced ninja to guide him, was indeed a bit over the top. It's already great that Genin, who just graduated, can reach this level, but it's better not to suffer any real casualties. However, Naoki and the others were stopped by Asakawa Naoki before they could take action. Jiraiya, who was about to take action, also stopped and was ready to take a look at the next development. Leave it to us. In the first mission, he didn't want to see casualties among his teammates fighting alongside him. Makoto. Naoki Asakawa gave Uchiha Makoto a look, and Makoto immediately understood what Naoki Asakawa was thinking and nodded tacitly. At this time, the Ronin had already rushed to a distance of 10 meters from Asakawa Naoki and others relying on the civilian shields in front of them. It only took a few seconds for them to fight in close combat. At that time, they will let these brats who have just graduated from the ninja school know the importance of combat experience. However, Naoki Asakawa and Makoto Uchiha had already put their hands into the ninja bags on both sides of their waists. In the ninja tool bag that no one saw, the two people's nimble fingers wrapped themselves with a thin wire rope. One end was wrapped around the finger, and the other end was tied to a sharp shuriken. The next moment, Naoki Asakawa and Uchiha Makoto threw 2 shurikens from both hands at the same time. A total of 8 shurikens were shot at the 7 Ronin. As the sound of shurikens piercing the air sounded, the Ronin quickly hid their figures behind the civilians, and those civilians closed their eyes, life and death. I didn't expect these brats to actually be able to do something. The Ronin's hearts tightened. Although these brats had average fighting experience, they were quite accurate in throwing shurikens. All the Ronin had died under their shurikens before. However, when the shuriken passed by them, the Ronin felt happy. I didn't expect these brats to miss it. The next moment, Naoki Asakawa's fingers pulled back. In the Ronin's incredulous eyes, the shuriken that had been fired unexpectedly reversed violently, severing the necks of the Ronin who had not yet reacted to the surprise. This is Uchiha's shuriken throwing technique. Of the 8 shurikens, only the Ronin in the middle suffered the worst. He was hit by 2 shurikens from Naoki Asakawa and Uchiha Makoto at the same time, and fell down before he could even scream. Ah! The civilians who were sprayed with the blood of the Ronin behind them rushed towards Asakawa Naoki and the others like crazy, their eyes full of shock and excitement and gratitude after being saved. If you go any further, I'll kill you. Naoki Asakawa frowned and said coldly, the murderous aura in his tone directly suffocating these frightened civilians. Asakawa, you. Naoki, who was about to appease these civilians, was at a loss. He didn't know why Asakawa Naoki, who was usually gentle, could be so cold. Naoki, Masamura, and Kasaragi, guard these people. Asakawa Naoki said to the three of them. Beware of the spy disguised as Ronin inside. Asakawa Naoki did not completely believe in these civilians who were used as shields. Even if there were no spies inside, it would be easy to disrupt their formation, so it was better to guard them first. Okay. Naoki nodded. He reflected for a moment and realized that he seemed to be too impulsive and should learn from Asakawa to be calmer. The three of them took 7 civilians aside to guard them, and Asakawa Naoki's eyes began to look serious. After all the rogues were killed, the person behind the scenes was finally coming. In Asakawa Naoki's perception, 2 figures walked slowly from the darkness before dawn. No, to be precise, it should be one person dragging another person slowly towards them. Be careful, it's a wandering ninja. Asakawa Naoki reminded. In his perception, there is chakra in the body of the visitor. After hearing Asakawa Naoki's words, Namikaze Minato and others immediately cheered up. The reason why they can easily defeat those Ronin who are older than them is because they have chakra. Facing wandering ninjas who also possess chakra, even ordinary Chunin or even Genin, students like them who have just graduated from ninja school will suffer from experience. Moreover, being able to organize so many Ronin is probably not something that only Genin can do. I didn't expect that a group of brats who had just graduated from the ninja school could destroy the Ronin team I carefully formed. It's true that I underestimated you. The wandering ninja's voice was a little rough. He must be quite old and had been wandering for some time. Following the dim light of dawn, Asakawa Naoki and others finally saw clearly the appearance of the person coming and the person being dragged. The wandering ninja was burly and ferocious in appearance, but the man being dragged looked familiar to them. It's you. The rope tree guarding the civilians couldn't help but make a sound, and what surprised him was not the wandering ninja, but the half-dead man dragged away by the wandering ninja. This person is the refugee who begged them to take in before. Save me. The refugee being held in the hands of the wandering ninja groaned in pain. Asakawa Naoki and the others guessed correctly that this refugee was indeed a human scout sent by Ronin. However, at the beginning, if the person in charge of the caravan could take him in, he was willing to give up his relatives who were caught by the Ronin and threaten him, and live an ordinary life with the caravan. It's a pity that Zemukauyi is not willing to let him stay at all. After being driven away, he resentfully told the Ronin all the information he saw in the caravan, and the focus was on Naoki Asakawa, a group of ninjas who had just graduated from the ninja school. The real leader of this group of Ronin, the wandering ninja in front of him, was not ready to take action when he learned that there were 9 ninjas in the caravan. However, the resentful refugees fanned the flames. Not only did they tell all what Sawaki Koichi said when he scolded Naoki Asakawa and others, but they also told the wandering ninja about Naoki's innocent, kind and unwary behavior. In this way, the wandering ninja finally understood why such a small caravan had 9 ninja guards. It turned out that they were all genin who had just graduated from the ninja school. After thinking for a moment, the wandering ninja made a decision. It was much easier to deal with 9 genin who had just graduated and had no experience than dealing with 1 Konoha Chunin or even Jonin. Just in case, the wandering ninja finally sent his Ronin to go ahead to prevent Jonin from hiding in the carriage. But the result was unexpected. Dozens of his Ronin were all killed by the shurikens of these newly graduated genin. Moreover, the other party's guiding ninja was not seen for a long time. The wandering ninja finally let down his guard and decided to take action himself. However, before taking action, he decided to punish this guy for lying about military information. Guy, if you hadn't fanned the flames, would Lousy have lost so many men? The wandering ninja walked toward Asakawa Naoki and others while punching the refugees in his hands. His fists were extremely heavy. After receiving a few punches, the refugee had more air coming out and less air entering. In fact, if it were really 9 ordinary genin who had just graduated from the ninja school, without Jonin's guidance, the Ronin might really be in a hurry when facing the surprise attack. However, with Naoki Asakawa, Minato Namikaze and others present, it was impossible for the Ronin without chakra to successfully attack. Are you a wandering ninja? Why did you attack us? Namikaze Minato looked at the man in front of him and asked. Under the dim light of dawn, the wandering ninja threw aside the refugees in his hands like broken sacks, and looked at Naoki Asakawa and the others with somewhat cloudy eyes. In the past, he was like these teenagers, passionate and dreamed of becoming a powerful ninja. But at some point, his dream was gradually eroded by the cold reality. Because of his low talent, he could not be promoted to Jonin or even special Jonin throughout his life. Finally, before a fatal mission, he escaped from Konoha. Perhaps it was because his transformation skills were so good that even though he had been wanted by Konoha, he had not been caught. Instead, taking advantage of the tense situation in the ninja world in recent years, he accepted some homeless young people as his subordinates and took the opportunity to rob nearby caravans. There is nothing to say. Leave the supplies you are guarding and I can let you live. The wandering ninja said. Impossible. Naoki Asakawa shook his head and said, it's better for my subordinates to see Mao Zhang. Good boy. The wandering ninja cursed angrily and began to quickly form seals in his hands. Shoot. Except for the 3 people guarding the civilians, the remaining 6 people quickly threw their shurikens at the wandering ninja. As long as a ninja's strength does not reach a certain level, the body is its biggest weakness. Even the shadow of the village will die if pierced by a shuriken. Just when Asakawa Naoki and others' shurikens were about to hit, the wandering ninja's seal had been completed. Earth-style hardening technique. The moment ninjutsu was activated, the wandering ninja's skin quickly turned into a rock-like brown color. The sharp shuriken stabbed on his body only left a few white spots without even scratching his skin. Except for other parts of the body, the shurikens aimed at the wandering ninja's eyes had already been seen through by several people, and they used their arms to protect their eyes in advance. The hardening spell defense on the arm seemed to be stronger. The shuriken stabbed on the skin of the arm, not even leaving a white mark. It's useless. The wandering ninja threw his arms and was about to rush forward to kill the genin, but what greeted him was a huge orange fireball. Fire-style great fireball technique. Facing a real ninja, Asakawa Naoki and others naturally did not think that a simple shuriken throw could solve the problem. So when the wandering ninja formed the seal, Uchiha Makoto did not choose to use shuriken, but instead formed the seal using ninjutsu, the Great Fireball Jutsu, a family tradition of the Uchiha clan. Is this really a kid who just graduated from ninja school? A kid who just graduated can actually do C-level ninjutsu. You must know that Sanshinjutsu is only the lowest E-level ninjutsu. A ninja who can learn C-level ninjutsu during the ninja school is already considered a little genius. The wandering ninja was shocked, but with his rich combat experience, it was impossible for him to be frightened by a great fireball, so he subconsciously rolled to the side to avoid the blow. Although the earth-style hardening technique can block slashes from weapons such as kunai, shuriken, and swords, its defense is greatly reduced when faced with ninjutsu attacks such as Great Fireball. I didn't expect that there are ninjas from the Uchiha clan among these brats. Fortunately, Sharingan has not been activated. The wandering ninja felt a little lucky, but the actual situation was that Uchiha Makoto had already activated the double Magatama Sharingan. The reason why it was useless was because he didn't need the Sharingan to deal with him. However, I really want to kill such a talented ninja with my own hands. His low ninja qualifications make this wandering ninja inherently hostile to those talented ninjas, and he is happy to kill geniuses in their cradle. Go to hell. The wandering ninja held a kunai and rushed towards Uchiha Makoto, who was still in the seal. When the kunai in his hand was about to stab Uchiha Makoto, the wandering ninja saw the trace of a smile remaining on her face. Why don't you hide away? Is this girl from the Uchiha clan scared out of her wits? The wandering ninja's thoughts were quickly interrupted, and his body was kicked on the waist by an extremely fast figure, and his whole body was kicked sideways. The moment he was kicked away, the wandering ninja recognized the person who came as Naoki Asakawa, the tallest among the group of ninjas. He finally understood why Uchiha Makoto didn't run away. It was because of his absolute trust in his companions. But he didn't have time to think too much, because what followed was Uchiha Makoto's second great fireball. At the critical moment, the kicked wandering ninja quickly formed seals and pressed his hands on the ground the moment he landed. Earth-style earth wall. A thin earth wall rose from the ground, blocking the way of the wandering ninja. The next moment, the earthen wall was destroyed by the huge great fireball, but the wandering ninja also took advantage of this opportunity to escape from the flames of the great fireball. This boy's physical skills are so strong. The wandering ninja looked at Naoki Asakawa, feeling a slight pain in the waist where he had just been kicked. Even if he didn't take off his clothes to check, he knew that there was probably a bruise at the injured location. This guy's strength is a bit ridiculous. Even if my hardening technique can greatly improve the defense, it is not suitable for a head-on battle with him. Plus that Uchiha girl who knows fire style, these guys are a little tricky. The wandering ninja felt a little regretful at this time, and he hated the refugee who lied about his military situation. If this guy hadn't said that these kids were just freshly graduated ninja school students with no combat experience and simple personalities, he wouldn't have attacked the caravan. But it was too late to regret now. The wandering ninja decisively avoided the two troublesome ninjas Asakawa Naoki and Uchiha Makoto, and chose the yellow-haired ninja who was closer to him. It's you. The current plan is to defeat one person quickly and then use it to threaten other ninjas to have a chance of victory. As long as there is a hostage in hand, no matter how desperate it is, he can use it to make his companions throw rat weapons to create an opportunity to escape. During the battle, he thought about defeat before thinking about victory. This was the secret to his survival until now after becoming a wandering ninja. At the beginning of the battle, you should think about how to escape if you fail. This is the most important thing he learned after defecting to Konoha. At this moment, he also implemented this life creed very thoroughly. Kill. The wandering ninja rushed towards Naoki Asakawa, but suddenly turned to Minato Namikaze midway, and with the blessing of earth-style hardening technique, he swung a powerful and heavy palm. As long as he could hit the yellow-haired boy in front of him, he would be confident to seriously injure him with one blow, and then use him as a hostage to open up the situation. His idea was beautiful, but the reality was cruel and he chose the wrong partner. When he raised his hand, Namikaze Minato had already noticed everything. When the powerful and heavy blow was about to hit, Namikaze Minato relied on his prediction to avoid it, and used his strength to step on his thick arm and quickly distanced himself from him. This guy's reaction speed is so fast. You know, he has been in Chunin for many years, and it is not an exaggeration to say that he is an elite among Chunin. If it were any other time, with his combat experience, he wouldn't need so much trouble to deal with several genin who had just graduated from the ninja school. After all, the age gap between the two parties is too big. As an adult, not only does his strength and speed far exceed those of the genins who are only about 12 years old, but his chakra power and ninjutsu skills are even more powerful. Moreover, his many years of hard-earned combat experience are not to be boasted. How can these genin who have just graduated from the ninja school and have never fought with a real person compare? But now, it doesn't matter that Uchiha Makoto knows sea-level fire-style ninjutsu. Asakawa Naoki's taijutsu is even stronger than him who used the hardening technique, and the kick he gave him just now is still hurting. And the yellow-haired genin who was picked out as a hostage by him in front of him, although he did not show powerful ninjutsu and taijutsu, his reaction speed was also very fast, and his elaborate sneak attack was actually dodged by him. You have no way out, surrender. Naoki Asakawa, Uchiha Makoto and Minato Namikaze vaguely surrounded the wandering ninja from three directions. A little further away, two teammates of Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato are also ready to support. Haha, surrender is never possible, the wandering ninja laughed wildly. Although I have never served in the torture department, I should know some relevant rumors after becoming a ninja. That is, never be caught alive by a ninja from a hostile ninja village. Because after being caught, you really go to hell. Torture ninjutsu not only digs out the information in the ninja's mind, it is also the most painful torture for the ninja's body and spirit. Although he was not a ninja from an enemy village, as a rebel ninja from Konoha, the fate of being captured would definitely be worse than death. Then die here. Asakawa Naoki pulled out the repolished defective sword. Under the dim light of dawn, the 1-meter-long blade exuded a sharp cold light. You weak genin can't kill me. The wandering ninja made seals with his hands and slapped them on the ground. While consuming more chakra, the 4 rock walls that were far superior to the earth walls slowly rose up to protect them in all directions. Earth-style rock wall. At the same time, Uchiha Makoto's seal has been completed, and the 3rd great fireball is sprayed at the wandering ninja. Naoki Asakawa also rushed towards the wandering ninja with a broken sword in hand, and was flanked by Uchiha Makoto's great fireball. It's useless. The wandering ninja smiled and said that before he defected to Konoha, he was an earth-style ninja who focused on defense ninjutsu. He may not be very good at attacking, which makes him unable to defeat Naoki Asakawa and the others in a short time. But in terms of defense, with the earth-style hardening technique, he is not afraid of attacks from melee weapons such as shurikens and kunai, and with the earth-style rock wall, he can also defend against long-range ninjutsu attacks. He is simply a turtle ninja. It can be said that among the Chunin, his defense is definitely the strongest. The rock wall rose for a moment, and Uchiha Makoto's great fireball hit the rock wall. The scorching heat made the wandering ninja sweat all over his face. However, the great fireball did not destroy this rock wall like it destroyed an earth wall, and the damage it caused to the wandering ninja was only a significant increase in temperature in a short period of time. Even the great fireball can't destroy my rock wall. Is this taijutsu boy still planning to split my rock wall with a knife? Even if there is no rock wall, the thing that my earth-style hardening technique is not afraid of most is sword attacks. The wandering ninja's face showed a bit of ridicule, and the seals in his hands continued. He wanted to leave the ground with the help of earth-style ninjutsu under the protection of the rock wall. But the next moment, the mocking look on the wandering ninja's face did not change. Under the influence of thunder and lightning, the highlight in his eyes gradually disappeared. Behind him, the Tachi blade wrapped with blue lightning in Naoki Asakawa's hand completely penetrated the rock wall, and then broke the earth-style hardening technique attached to the wandering ninja's body, directly piercing his heart. Under the sword attached to the lightning, both the earth-style rock wall and the earth-style hardening technique were cut open like tofu without any resistance. I didn't expect that the palm thunder attached to the sword would have such great restraint on earth-style ninjutsu. When he saw that the wandering ninja was good at using earth-style ninjutsu, Naoki Asakawa thought about using the palm thunder he had just learned. After all, in the ninja world, chakra attribute restraint is quite obvious. Lightning style restrains earth style, and he wants to know if his palm thunder can also restrain earth style. The result surprised him. Not only was palm thunder able to restrain earth style ninjutsu, but the restraint seemed a bit strong. He did not directly use the palm thunder, but attached the palm thunder to the sword. I thought that there would be some obstruction when piercing into the rock wall, and he would need to rely on his strong physical strength to forcefully remove it. Unexpectedly, the rock wall in front of him turned out to be no different from tofu under the sword attached to the palm thunder. Asakawa Naoki pulled out the blood-stained sword, and slashed the 4 rock walls with the sword attached with the thunder in his palm, easily cutting off all the rock walls. Without the obstruction of the rock wall, everyone could finally see clearly the appearance of the wandering ninja. After being pierced through the heart by a knife, the wandering ninja naturally died and could not die again. This guy, Uzumaki Kushina, looked at the wandering ninja in surprise. Although he was still the same person, even the ridicule on his face had not changed. But his appearance was completely different from the rugged appearance before, and his appearance was thinner and more cunning. Not only that, the wandering ninja's figure is no longer as tall as before. Not only is it a bit shorter, but he has also lost a lot of weight. This is what he really looks like, Asakawa Naoki said. This wandering ninja is really cautious and maintains a disguise similar to the transformation technique during the fiercest battle. But he may not have thought that Naoki Asakawa, who in his eyes is the best at physical skills, actually has the thunder spell to restrain earth style. I seem to have seen this guy in Konoha's wanted mission. Namikaze Minato looked at the true face of the wandering ninja and thought for a while before saying. Kenichi Moriki, the original Konoha Chunin, defected to Konoha by killing his companions in order to refuse to carry out a dangerous mission. Because the rebel nin's behavior is cruel and powerful, it is classified as a B-level mission. However, it is recommended to send more than 3 Chunin, or to have it executed by Jonin. The reward is 200,000 taels. It turns out he is a traitorous ninja from Konoha. He uses disguised appearance when fighting. He is so cautious. No wonder he hasn't been caught yet. Uchiha Makoto nodded. Listening to Namikaze Minato's words, Asakawa Naoki felt a little happy. He didn't expect that performing a C-level escort mission would bring unexpected surprises. The bounty of 200,000 taels is a lot of money even if divided. His food expenses have been paid. Moreover, there are wandering ninjas attacking the caravan. This C-level escort mission should also be upgraded to B-level, and a lot of money can be allocated. Ha ha ha, you guys did a good job. A white-haired figure finally jumped down from the branch. When the rogues used the villagers as hostages, he was ready to take action. Unexpectedly, Naoki Asakawa could also use the shuriken throwing technique of the Uchiha clan, and solve the dilemma with Uchiha Makoto. When the rebel ninja Mori Kenichi of Konoha appeared, Jiraiya was always ready to take action to prevent casualties. But I didn't expect that these little guys who had just graduated from the ninja school could deal with a defecting chunin like Moriki Kenichi. Jiraiya was not surprised when he saw that Uchiha Makoto could use the Great Fireball Jutsu. As a descendant of the Uchiha family, it is not surprising that 12-year-old Makoto knows the family's ninjutsu Great Fireball Jutsu. But when he saw Asakawa Naoki using the sword wrapped with lightning, Jiraiya was shocked. When selecting information at the ninja school, not only Orochimaru, but also Naoki Asakawa's information was seen, and he naturally knew that he was a civilian ninja like Minato Namikaze. Just during the day, Jiraiya saw Orochimaru hand a lightning-style ninjutsu scroll to Asakawa Naoki. Unexpectedly, he had already learned to use it during the battle. He can learn a C-level ninjutsu in one day and use it flexibly. This guy is also a genius. If Orochimaru hadn't chosen him, I would have wanted to accept him as my disciple. Jiraiya's sudden appearance immediately alerted everyone who had just relaxed due to the death of the wandering ninja. However, after seeing Jiraiya's appearance clearly, everyone's hearts finally relaxed. Jiraiya-sensei, Namikaze Minato and the other two disciples looked at Jiraiya happily. Although the night was uneventful, they were not only tired, but also worried. Now that Jiraiya is leading the team, there is finally no need to worry about the rest of the journey. You did a great job. Now that I'm here, I don't have to worry about anything else. Jiraiya touched Minato's hair, looked at the other disciples, and continued. Let's clean up the surroundings first. Following Jiraiya's order, Asakawa Naoki and others gathered the Ronin's corpses together on the spot, and then all of them were reduced to ashes under Uchiha Makoto's Great Fireball Jutsu. As for the body of the wandering ninja, or the rebel ninja Mori Kenichi of Konoha, Jiraiya sealed it with a scroll and took it with him. Only by getting the corpse can you collect the bounty in Konoha's mission club. These Ronin are so poor. The leader Moriki Kenichi only has 40,000 taels on him. Asakawa Naoki searched all the corpses, and finally Moriki Kenichi had some money. Of course, Jiraiya looked down upon such a small sum of 40,000 taels, so each of the 9 of them shared an average of more than 4,000 taels. Jiraiya-sensei, what should we do with these innocent civilians? Namikaze Minato asked. Take them with you and let them leave when they reach a safe town. Jiraiya thought. Yes, Ninja-sama. The caravan leader Sawaki Kawachi said respectfully, no longer as arrogant as before. In fact, even without Jiraiya, Sawaki Kawachi would be honest. After all, the reason why they bullied Naoki Asakawa and the others before was because they were just freshly graduated genin, weak in strength, inexperienced in doing tasks, and because they had a resentment in their hearts about buying something cheap. But after Asakawa Naoki and others showed their strength, instantly killing many attacking Ronin, and killing the wandering ninja who led the Ronin, Sawaki became more honest. I'm afraid even without Jiraiya, during the next journey, if Asakawa Naoki said to go east, he would not dare to go west. These genin are not just fresh graduates, they are simply murderers who kill without blinking an eye. Zemu Kawachi now wants to give his former self 2 slaps. Why should he look down on others and bully these ninjas? Nowadays, Sawaki Koichi can only reduce his sense of existence as much as possible and let Asakawa Naoki and the others ignore his existence as much as possible. By the way, there is a traitorous ninja in this escort mission. The mission level should be upgraded from C level to B level. Jiraiya said casually. Yes, Ninja-sama is right. Sawaki Koichi agreed. Although his heart was bleeding for the extra mission bounty, it was better not to sacrifice his life for things that could be solved with money. When we reach the destination, I will increase the mission level to B level and the bounty to 200,000 taels. What do you think, Ninja-sama? Then do as you say. Jiraiya nodded. The bounty for the escort mission is 200,000 taels, plus the bounty for Konoha trader Morikunichi is also 200,000 taels. Even if the 9 of them share it equally, each of them can get a lot of money. Naoki Asakawa was so happy that he could get so much bounty for his first mission, and even looked forward to a few more rebel ninja attacks on the way. In that case, he will not be short of rations for refining chi in the future. After packing up their equipment and setting off again, they didn't know whether it was because they were lucky or because Jiraiya was in charge, and no one dared to attack their convoy anymore. Although it was peaceful, Naoki Asakawa's idea of making some extra money went to waste. Because of Jiraiya's joining, the positions of Namikaze Minato's team and Asakawa Naoki's team were switched. Namikaze Minato and 3 others sat on the roof of the front carriage, while Asakawa Naoki and 3 others sat on the rear carriage roof. Uchiha Makoto and the others were still in the middle, while the civilians sat on other carriages. This is quite good. Neither Asakawa Naoki nor Naoki likes to deal with the caravan leader Sawaki Koichi. Although Sawaki Koichi's current attitude is flattering, they have not forgotten how he looked down on others a day ago. Sitting on the roof of the carriage, Asakawa Naoki took 2 Bingliong pills. Under the stimulation of the essence fire in his heart, the endless stream of essence quickly turned into mana. However, he soon discovered that Naoki sitting next to him seemed a little depressed, and even slacked off in learning ninjutsu. Naoki, what's wrong with you? Is it because you're not used to killing people? Asakawa Naoki asked. Masamura Oki, who was sitting next to the 2 of them, also looked at the rope tree. Asakawa Naoki could notice something was wrong with the rope tree, and he could naturally notice it too. However, compared to Asakawa Naoki's guess, he guessed that Naoki was distressed by seeing the strength gap between Asakawa Naoki and Uchiha Makoto. After all, he was quite desperate when he saw Asakawa Naoki and the others defeating the traitor Nin Morikunichi. They were obviously younger than him, but their physical skills were far superior to them. Obviously, they received the scroll given to them by Mr. Orochimaru on the same day, and Naoki Asakawa could learn it the next day, but he didn't even touch the threshold of entry. He could only lament that the gap between geniuses and ordinary people was as big as the chasm in the sky. However, Shungshu shook his head. Both of their guesses were wrong. Shungshu sighed and said slowly, "I'm just a little helpless. Can't do anything." Masamura Oki asked puzzledly. "Didn't we kill all the Ronin and wandering ninjas that came? The body of the wandering ninja is still in Jiraiya sensei's hands. I'm thinking about the civilian I met at the beginning." Now Shu glanced at the front of the carriage, which was the carriage where the person in charge, Sawaki Koichi, was sitting. I can tell that when the civilian asked us to let him stay, he was sincere. But we drove him away and cut off his hope. I didn't expect that the human scout leaked our information, but Shungshu still blamed himself for his death. Naoki Asakawa didn't know what he was thinking. Even he, a time traveler with higher moral standards who came from a peaceful heaven to this world, would not blame himself for the death of that civilian. Unexpectedly, the rope tree, who was born and raised in the cruel world of ninja, would feel guilty because of his death. No wonder Tsunade felt that Naruto was very similar to her brother Naoki in the Hokage she had seen in her previous life. Not only do they look similar, they also have similar warm-hearted and kind personalities. Nashu, you gave that guy so many soldiers, food pills, and he also leaked our information. Masamura Oki said straightforwardly. This guy who repays kindness with hatred does not deserve our sympathy. Masamura Oki was right. After accepting Naoki's military food pills, the civilian could obviously lie about the intelligence and exaggerate their strength to avoid the attacks of wandering ninjas. But instead of doing this, the civilian told the wandering ninja all the information that they were being despised by the caravan leader. Even if he didn't die in the hands of that wandering ninja, Masamura Oki wanted to teach this guy who repaid kindness with revenge a lesson. After all, no matter what kind of pain the civilian endured, it had nothing to do with them. Instead, the information about the rope tree that gave him food was betrayed by him. But, Shungshu wanted to say something else, but did not continue, and his mood became even lower. Obviously, the kind-hearted Shungshu did not think that the civilian died innocently. Naoki, do you know why that civilian died? Asakawa Naoki asked. Masamura Oki also looked at Naoki, curious about his answer. Because you don't want to take in Mr. Sawaki. Naoki replied uncertainly. If Mr. Sawaki didn't stand by and watch, he wouldn't go back. Asakawa Naoki shook his head. Naoki thought about it again, and then replied. Is it because of us? If we are tougher, Mr. Sawaki will also consider taking him in. Asakawa Naoki shook his head again, indicating to Naoki to continue thinking. Shungshu thought for a while, feeling that he had found the real reason, and replied firmly. It's because of that traitorous ninja and those Ronin. If it hadn't been for them, that civilian wouldn't have lost his family, and none of this would have happened. Yes, but not entirely right. Naoki Asakawa nodded, shook his head, and continued. That Konoha rebel was indeed the direct cause of his death. But have you ever thought about why rebellions occurred, why so many families were destroyed, and why all this happened? Naoki Asakawa's words stunned both Naoki and Masamura Oki. They originally thought that everything was the fault of the Konoha traitor and those Ronin, and never thought about the deeper reasons. Now when asked about the real reason, both of them couldn't answer. They could only look at Naoki Asakawa, expecting his answer. Because it's all this world's fault. Asakawa Naoki said slowly. Ninja villages attack each other, countries are against each other, and the war never stops. That's why there are so many rebellious and sabotaging enemy ninjas. So that's it. Naoki and Masamura Oki both looked at Asakawa Naoki with a bit of reverence in their eyes. Unexpectedly, while he was still thinking about the direct cause, Asakawa Naoki had already seen the root of the problem. Yes, the ninja world is a war-torn and deformed world. What is wrong is this world? Then how do we change the world? Masamura Oki asked, and Naoki was also looking forward to Asakawa Naoki's answer. Actually, I haven't found the answer yet, Asakawa Naoki said helplessly. Even his previous life, that civilized and developed world, could not achieve true peace. In this deformed ninja world, there are huge conflicts between ninjas, and between ninjas and ordinary people, making it even more difficult to achieve peace. But I will do my best to find ways to change the world and bring it to peace, Naoki Asakawa said firmly. In the past at the ninja school, Asakawa Naoki just wanted to change the tragedy he witnessed when watching Hokage in his previous life, but now his desire to achieve peace has become stronger. Asakawa, my dream is indeed not as good as yours, Naoki said sincerely. He had been impressed by Asakawa Naoki. This kind of admiration did not come from strong strength, but from a strong heart. At this moment, Naoki finally understood why Asakawa Naoki wanted to change the world. Everyone has the right to dream, and I haven't found a way yet. Naoki Asakawa chuckled. That's why you have to practice seriously. Don't wait until you find a way to realize your dream, only to find that you are not strong enough to implement that method. Got it, Naoki and Masamura Oki said with admiration, and their attitude towards learning ninjutsu became serious. Naoki Asakawa didn't expect that he seemed to be quite talented in mouth evasion. Looking at the two people who were studying ninjutsu seriously, Asakawa Naoki took 2 Bingliong pills again and started to operate the basic chi refining technique. Naoki Asakawa and Masamura Oki were not surprised by the fact that Asakawa Naoki was so good at eating, and devoted themselves wholeheartedly to the practice of wind release and great breakthrough. Not only Asakawa Naoki's team, after experiencing the pre-dawn battle, the members of the other two teams present also realized the gap in strength between them. It was obvious that everyone had just graduated from the ninja school, even Naoki Asakawa and the other 3 had graduated early and were younger than them. Jiraiya happened to be here at this moment, so they could practice with all their strength, whether it was refining chakra or learning the ninjutsu scroll given by the teacher, they were all studying hard. On top of the carriage in the middle, Uzumaki Kushina pulled a red scroll in her hand. It's time to learn sealing techniques. When Kushina was in ninja school, in order to lay a solid foundation for her, Kushina's great-grandmother Uzumaki Mito didn't let her learn ninjutsu until she graduated. Now after graduating early, Kushina has a very solid foundation in taijutsu, throwing techniques and 3-body techniques, and her chakra volume is far higher than her peers, but ninjutsu is her biggest weakness now. In the battle at dawn, I saw Uchiha Makoto using the Great Fireball technique to help Naoki Asakawa suppress the wandering ninja, but he was unable to intervene. Although she didn't want to admit it, Uzumaki Kushina was a little envious in her heart. As long as I learn these sealing techniques, I can also help Naoki, Uzumaki Kushina said firmly. Jiraiya, who was sitting at the front, looked at these children who were practicing hard and felt a little emotional in his heart. These children are the hope of Konoha's future. Along the way, with Jiraiya there, this escort mission finally restored the difficulty that AC level mission should have. Asakawa Naoki and others did not experience too many setbacks, and successfully arrived at the front line of the country of fire, at the border with the country of rain. Compared with Konoha, the conditions on the front line can be said to be much more primitive. There are almost no buildings, and most of them are large temporary tents. Fortunately, there are all the functions that a ninja should have here, including a mission club for handing over missions, a ninja tool shop for making or buying ninja tools, and even many restaurants and entertainment shops. It's understandable, after all, although ninjas are not nobles, the rewards for accepting tasks are still quite high, and their spending power is also very strong. In an environment like the front line where people die almost every day, the pressure of ninjas who don't know when they will die is very high. Even the most ordinary entertainment stores can easily make money from these stressed ninjas. For entertainment shops that can relieve the pressure of ninjas, frontline managers naturally turn a blind eye and acquiesce in their legality. However, if the intensity of the war escalates and the front line is defeated, then these businessmen will have to resign themselves to their fate. After submitting the escort mission and the body of Konoha traitor Mori Kenichi, 2 more B-level missions were added to everyone's mission records. Jiraiya handed the bounty of 400,000 taels to Asakawa Naoki and others. Ordinary ninjas who lead their apprentices on missions will have to collect nearly half of the bounty, Jiraiya said with a smile. However, I have almost no contribution to this mission, so I will leave all the bounty to you. I'll go find Orochimaru and Tsunade first. You are free to move around today. Remember to set up your tent there at night. Thank you, teacher, everyone said happily. The 400,000 taels given by the 2 B-level missions may not be much in the eyes of big family ninjas such as Nogeki, Uzumaki Kushina and Uchiha Makoto, but in the eyes of other civilian ninjas, 400,000 taels is already a huge sum of money. In fact, even in the eyes of Uchiha Makoto and Uzumaki Kushina, this amount of money is unusual. This is the first pot of gold they have earned by relying on their own abilities. How to divide it? Shungshu asked. It is definitely not possible to divide equally. If everyone eats from the same pot, no one will work hard to improve their strength in the future. Even in a 3-person team, mission bounties are basically distributed according to the level of effort and injury. What's more, if it is distributed evenly, even if Naoki Asakawa and Uchiha Makoto, who contributed the most, have no objections, the rest of the people who receive the bounty may feel somewhat undeserved. Let's distribute according to work, Namikaze Minato suggested. Agree, everyone present said in unison. First of all, among the 2 tasks, the 2 people who contributed the most are Asakawa Naoki and Uchiha Makoto, each with 100,000 taels, and the remaining 7 people each have 28,500 taels. How about that? Namikaze Minato said. No comment. Quote. Naturally, everyone agreed to this distribution method. The Konoha rebel ninja was almost killed by Naoki Asakawa and Uchiha Makoto together. The Ronin who used the villagers as shields were also killed by the 2 of them with shurikens. It can be said that the 2 of them contributed the most in the 2 missions. If calculated carefully, 100,000 taels is even less. As for the others, Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina's shurikens are more accurate and have more power, but there is no need to divide them so finely. The bounty of nearly 30,000 taels is enough for these young ninjas who have just graduated. Been excited for a while. Naoki, this is the money for the military food pill. Asakawa Naoki took out 10,000 taels from the 100,000 taels and handed it to Naoki. After arriving at the front line, Naoki Asakawa went to a Bingliang store to inquire about the price of Bingliang. Depending on the appearance and taste, the price of Bingliong pills also varies. Ordinary Bingliong pills cost about dozens of taels each. The military food pills that Tsunade prepared for Naoshu were naturally the best in appearance and taste, and the price reached nearly 100 taels each. The pack of military ration pills given to him by Shungshu contained hundreds of pills, which was about 10,000 taels. Asakawa, I told you that you're welcome, Naoki said helplessly. I wasn't going to eat that stuff in the first place. You'd better keep it, Asakawa Naoki said with a smile, then looked at the others and said, there is still time now, do you want to visit the shops on the front line? Well, let's go together. Uzumaki Kushina looked at Naoki Asakawa expectantly. When they first arrived, other people would naturally not miss the opportunity to get familiar with the front line and agreed one after another. The group of people started wandering around the front line, and finally found that although the place was simple and crude, it was really well equipped for a small house. Maybe it's because you can really make money here. Although the facilities are a bit rudimentary, most of the entertainment in Konoha is available here. The pressure on the ninjas on the front line may indeed be a bit high, so most of the entertainment here is related to gambling, which are entertainment that Asakawa Naoki and others cannot be exposed to at their age. However, they did find an acquaintance here. Tsunade-sensei, why are you here? Uzumaki Kushina said in surprise. On the other hand, Naoki, who was very familiar with Tsunade, covered his face and said helplessly. Sister, you won't lose everything again, right? Hey, you're already here, you're going pretty fast. Tsunade, who had not yet changed out of her ninja uniform and was about to leave the casino, saw everyone and said happily. How about it? That unreliable guy Jiraiya should be pretty reliable, right? Seeing that everyone was neat and tidy, with no missing arms or legs, Tsunade felt that she should trust Jiraiya a little more. Jiraiya-sensei has been following us and protecting us secretly, Namikaze Minato said. That's good, Tsunade nodded. Today's mission bounty has been lost and it's time to go back. But Tsunade suddenly thought of something again, and looked at everyone with bright eyes. Your mission has been submitted, why don't you lend me the mission bounty first and then go gamble, Tsunade said in a seductive voice. If you win, the money will all belong to you. If you lose, I will use the bounty from my next mission to return it to you intact. Elder sister, I won't let you gamble with my partner's mission bounty. Naoki opened his hands and stood resolutely between everyone and Tsunade. As Tsunade's younger brother, Naoki knew Tsunade's luck best. If ordinary people lose 9 times out of 10, then Tsunade loses 10 out of 10 times. Tsunade had never won at the gambling table, except for their late grandfather Senju Hashirama. Giving the mission bounty to Tsunade to gamble would mean losing everything. Although my sister promised that if they lose, she will use the bounty from the next mission to make up for them, but now they are shopping. If they lose all the money, it will really be shopping, the kind of shopping without buying. Okay, Nezuki, I won't bet, okay. Tsunade said helplessly. Tsunade still attaches great importance to Naoki, her only younger brother. Even though she still wanted to gamble in her heart, she was still willing to restrain herself in front of her younger brother. However, Tsunade decided not to gamble, but Asakawa Naoki wanted to make money. Tsunade-sensei, let me lend you my mission bounty, Asakawa Naoki looked at Tsunade and smiled. However, I hope you can take me in with you to see how you bet. You little guy. Tsunade's eyes showed a strange light. She didn't expect that among Orochimaru's students there was a little gambling dog like herself. Asakawa, what are you doing? Naoki looked at Asakawa Naoki and said with confusion in his eyes. You may not know that my sister is a big loser who always loses in gambling. Put the money in her hands, she will never get it back today. Noseki, Tsunade said angrily. Do you have a brother who talks about your sister in front of outsiders like you? My sister often wins when she bets with her grandfather. Hey, anyhow, Asakawa, believe me, my sister really loses every time she bets. Naoki said helplessly. Don't worry, Naoki. Asakawa Naoki handed the remaining 90,000 taels to Tsunade. With him here, it would be difficult for Tsunade to lose. I didn't expect you to be quite rich. Tsunade sighed after taking the 90,000 taels. 90,000 taels may not be much to a ninja, but it is a lot to Naoki Asakawa who just graduated. Tsunade-sensei, let me lend you my mission bounty. Uchiha Makoto smiled and took out 100,000 ryo. And mine. Uzumaki Kushina also took out 30,000 taels. Quote. People's herd mentality is really serious, and Naoki Asakawa didn't expect that in the end. The 9 of them lent all the escort mission and the bounty for killing the traitorous ninja to Tsunade. Seeing that his friends all believed in their big fat sheep sister, in the end even the rope tree lent his mission bounty to Tsunade. You are quite rich. Looking at the 400,000 taels in her hand, Tsunade felt guilty about gambling for the first time. Although these 400,000 taels are not much for Tsunade, who comes from a prominent family, it is the bounty for these children's first mission. The first pot of gold was handed into his hands with such trust, and a suspicion suddenly arose in Tsunade's heart. But soon, Tsunade's desire to win outweighed her guilt, and she finally walked towards the casino. We'll win. Tsunade walked into the casino, and Asakawa Naoki and others followed behind and were about to enter, but were stopped by the casino staff. Sorry, minors are not allowed in the casino, a security guard said. No Seki, just wait outside, I'll be out right away. Tsunade said with a smile. I'm an adult, Naoki Asakawa said looking at the security personnel. You, the security guard looked at Naoki Asakawa. Although this guy still looks a little childish, he is already over 1.7 meters tall, taller than Tsunade. It seems that there is no problem if he is an adult. Okay, you can come in. The security guard nodded and said, others, please wait outside for a while. In the end, Tsunade and Naoki Asakawa entered the casino, while the others could only wait outside for the time being. Little guy, just wait and see how I win the money back. Tsunade looked at Asakawa Naoki and said with a smile. I understand, Tsunade-sensei. Asakawa Naoki nodded. After today, he shouldn't have to worry about food expenses. Because the casino is located on the front line of the Land of Fire, most of the people who come here to gamble are Konoha ninjas, including Jonin. With Tsunade's identity and strength, most of the Konoha ninjas here know her. After all, Orochimaru, who took over the frontline command a few days ago, is Tsunade's teammate. Although Tsunade, Orochimaru and Jiraiya have not yet received the title of Sannin, they are already known to almost everyone among the frontline Konoha ninjas. Fortunately, everyone also knows Tsunade's character and knows that she is a gambler who abides by the rules. Otherwise, they would not dare to win when gambling with their leaders. Tsunade-sama, weren't you ready to leave just now? An acquaintance of the ninja asked curiously. My apprentice just borrowed some money and plans to win back everything I lost before. Tsunade said proudly. Then I wish you good luck, Tsunade-sama. The ninja smiled. That's natural, Tsunade laughed. Along the way, not only the ninjas knew Tsunade, but also the ordinary people who came to gamble were smiling and greeting Tsunade. There is no way, who doesn't like Tsunade, a big fat sheep who likes to gamble and loses every time she gambles. No matter how bad your luck is, as long as you buy against Tsunade, you will always win. This is the charm of big fat sheep. Tsunade-sama, come and bet with me. A ninja laughed. No, big fat, another ordinary person almost let it slip, and said quickly, Tsunade-sama, come to my table. Seeing each gambler inviting Tsunade, Asakawa Naoki finally understood how terrifying the charm of the legendary big fat sheep was. However, today, the legendary big fat sheep will finally turn into a wolf in sheep's clothing. Tsunade-sensei, go play with that. Naoki Asakawa pointed to a dice cup on the table, which is the simplest and most classic size comparison. Okay, let's play that today. Tsunade nodded. After all, it is the money of these students. It is up to Asakawa Naoki to decide which one to play. Anyway, she has played it all. Tsunade-sama, I didn't expect you to come back again. The pretty waitress who was in charge of rolling the dice on the table welcomed her. Well, let's play 2 more games. Tsunade smiled. I want to win back everything I lose. Then come on, I'm also looking forward to when Tsunade-sama can win her back. The waitress said with a smile. Tsunade-sama is over there. Let me bet Tsunade-sama. Quote. Asakawa Naoki knew that Tsunade was very popular in casinos, but he might have underestimated the appeal of Tsunade, the legendary big fat sheep, to gamblers. Soon the guessing table was packed, with more than a dozen people crowded into one table. Even Naoki Asakawa was squeezed next to Tsunade, unable to move. This was the first time that he was so close to a beautiful woman, and it was as if he could still smell Tsunade's fresh body fragrance. At any other time, the atmosphere might still be a bit charming. But in the casino, Asakawa Naoki really has no other thoughts to appreciate it. This is related to his future food expenses. Then, let's begin. The waiter at the casino put 3 dice into the dice cup, shook them left 3 times, right 3 times, and then put one on the table. Okay, if it's within 10 o'clock or less, it's a small one, and if it's 11 o'clock or more, it's a big one. Buy it and leave. After the waiter finished speaking, many gamblers present had no intention of taking action. They all looked at Tsunade, as if waiting for Tsunade to place their bet first. I'll buy the big one, 200,000 taels. Tsunade threw out 20 silver notes and said domineeringly. Okay, since Tsunade-sama bought the big one, I'll buy the small one. 50,000 taels. I'll buy a small one too. 100,000 taels. Me too. 100,000 taels. Quote. Most of the gamblers present chose to buy against Tsunade, seeming to have sealed Tsunade's luck. However, Naoki Asakawa discovered something fishy through the sword control technique. When Tsunade chose to buy the big one, the dice in the dice cup seemed to move. Of course, it was not Tsunade's luck that forced the dice to become small, but the waiter used some means to make the total number of heads of the dice inside reach a large one. After all, casinos want to make money, and the way to make money is naturally to extract money from gamblers. If Tsunade loses from the beginning to the end, not only will Tsunade not want to continue gambling, but other gamblers may not want to gamble either. That's why the waiter changed the value of the dice to let Tsunade win first and taste the benefits. Is this really fair? Asakawa Naoki looked at the waiter and asked. Before the waiter in the casino could answer, the gamblers around him had already answered for him. My friend, are you new here? The material of this dice cup is not simple. It can isolate the chakra. Even the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan cannot see the number of dice in it, let alone ordinary ninjas. Quote. Tsunade also looked at Asakawa Naoki and smiled. Don't worry little guy, the reputation of this casino is quite good, and this dice cup can't even affect my chakra. So that's it. Naoki Asakawa nodded. Since everyone has placed their bets, it's time to start. The waiter opened the dice cup and announced the result. 2, 4, 6, the total is 12, big. Congratulations, Tsunade-sama. Because of Tsunade's legend, almost no one followed her in placing bets. They all placed bets in the opposite direction, which allowed Tsunade to win a lot. It's so cool to win 650,000 taels in one go. Tsunade said with a happy smile. Maybe she doesn't know that it was the waiter who did it. Let her taste the sweetness first. Naoki Asakawa said helplessly. But, next, it's my turn to take action. The legendary big fat sheep, today I am a wolf in sheep's clothing. Amid the wails of gamblers, the waiter had already started the second round, with the same rules, but this time someone was already considering following Tsunade in placing bets. Everyone, buy it and leave. It's still big, 500,000 taels. Tsunade directly threw away half of her money. Tsunade-sama and I will buy a big one. 20,000 taels. I'll buy a small one. 50,000 taels. Little, 30,000 taels. Quote. While a group of gamblers were buying big and small, Naoki Asakawa was using his magic power to control the 3 dice in the dice cup. It is true that this dice cup can isolate chakra, but the isolation effect on mana is not very good. At least Asakawa Naoki's mana can still penetrate easily. Since the mana can penetrate the dice cup, the next step will be easy. In the art of sword control, there is no rule that you can only use flying swords. The foundation of sword control is actually the control of objects. Although there is no chakra metal inside the dice that can conduct mana, Asakawa Naoki cannot do it as easily and naturally as the flying sword. But the size and weight of the dice itself determined that even without chakra metal, he could control it without much effort. Get bigger. Under the control of Naoki Asakawa, the original dice faces of 1, 2, and 4 became 3, 4, and 4. Then the waiter opened the dice cup and announced the result. 3, 4, 4, the total is 11, big. Congratulations to my friend who bought a big one. Yeah, won again, Tsunade said excitedly, clenching her hands into fists. Although she has been immersed in gambling for a long time, she has not encountered the gate of opening twice like today for a long time. Great, I didn't expect Tsunade-sama's luck to be so good today. It's impossible, I don't believe it. Tsunade-sama is obviously the legendary big fat sheep, why did you win 2 games in a row today? Quote. Someone wins and someone loses. The waiter was also helpless. In the first game, she tricked Tsunade to win. In the second game, it was really Tsunade's luck. It seems that today I will finally win back everything I lost before. Tsunade said confidently. Let's start the next round. Okay, Tsunade-sama. The waiter smiled. Anyway, no matter whether they lose or win, their casino, as a banker that takes rake, will never lose. These red-eye gamblers may not know that there are no real winners among the gamblers, and all their money unknowingly falls into the banker's pocket. Then, the third round begins. The waiter shook the dice cup, and the sound of the dice colliding pulled the heartstrings of many gamblers. As the dice cup clicked on the table with a crisp sound, the gamblers began to go crazy. Buy and leave. All buy the big one. 50,000 taels. Little. 100,000 taels. Big. 30,000 taels. Quote. Ninjas are worthy of being rich, and almost no ninja present bet less than 10,000 taels. Because Tsunade guessed correctly twice in a row, the ninjas present no longer believed in the luck of the legendary big fat sheep, and began to follow their own ideas. Tsunade was also unambiguous. This time she made a small guess and invested half of her cash. All buy Shao. 700,000 taels. Seeing Tsunade's generous move, many gamblers present were shocked. Gamblers who had not yet placed their bets started betting big, hoping to win more money from Tsunade. Having already placed a bet on the small one, I can only hope that Tsunade's luck will turn around again. Only Asakawa Naoki, who silently used his magic to control the dice, sighed in his heart, Tsunade's luck is really bad. He guessed wrong 3 times in a row. The first time the waiter used special means to change it, and the second time he used the sword control technique to change it. Unexpectedly, he still guessed wrong the third time. No wonder she is called the legendary big fat sheep. Isn't it true that she doesn't come to the casino to give money to others? In the anticipation of many gamblers, the waiter slowly opened the dice cup and announced the results. 1, 3, 5, 9 points in total. Congratulations to my friend who bought the little one. I won again. Tsunade was so excited that she doubted herself. She could actually win 3 times in a row. Really or not, Tsunade-sama actually won again. Next time, let's buy it from Tsunade-sama. Many gamblers present had a slight change in their hearts. They did not expect that the legendary big fat sheep that usually gave them money would be as ferocious as a hungry wolf in sheep's clothing today. Tsunade only had 400,000 taels with her when she entered the casino, and she only played 3 games. Now she has more than 2 million taels in cash. This is why gambling is so easy for people to become addicted. The speed of winning and losing money is too fast, which easily stimulates people's excitement threshold. Among the gamblers present, those who won money began to become excited and wanted to win more, while those who lost money became more excited and wanted to win back all the money they lost. After some ninjas lose all their cash, they can only go to the mission club to receive missions, complete the missions and collect the bounty before gambling. This is why Frontline allows casinos to exist, because it can indeed reduce the mental stress of some ninjas. Come on to the next round, I want to place my bet with Tsunade-sama. Hurry up. Quote. As a new round began, Tsunade frowned slightly and began to think about whether to buy a big one or a small one. But in fact, Tsunade's choice doesn't matter at all. With Naoki Asakawa here, she will win no matter which side she chooses. After careful consideration, Tsunade made the final decision and directly bet 1 million taels. This time, I'll buy a small one this time. 1 million taels. I will follow Tsunade-sama's pressure too. I'll be younger too. Quote. Because Tsunade's 3 consecutive bets were successful, many gamblers followed Tsunade's bets. Only Naoki Asakawa silently shook his head. and Tsunade guessed wrong again, guessing the wrong size 4 times in a row. If he hadn't been here, Tsunade might have lost all their mission bounties. But with him here, Tsunade is the legendary Konoha god of gamblers when playing dice. 2, 2, 4, 8 o'clock in total. Congratulations to my little friend. The waiter took away the rake prescribed by the casino, and then pushed nearly half of the cash on the gaming table in front of Tsunade. Tsunade-sama, you win this. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that I would finally make a comeback today. Tsunade hugged Naoki Asakawa beside her excitedly. Tsunade-sama, please use less strength. Naoki Asakawa tried his best to push Tsunade away. He felt like he was going to die when this woman hugged him. She is worthy of being the woman who can overwhelm the 4th Raikage in arm wrestling in the future. In terms of pure physical strength, Asakawa Naoki is not as good as Tsunade. Tsunade also realized something at this time and quickly apologized to Asakawa Naoki. Sorry, I was so excited about winning just now. It's okay, Tsunade-sama just needs to pay more attention. Naoki Asakawa said helplessly. Tsunade-sama, do you want to continue? The waiter asked. Of course, come again. In less than half an hour, Tsunade walked out of the casino with a bright smile and a satisfied look on her face, followed closely by Naoki Asakawa. After the two walked out, many gamblers who were dejected after losing all their money walked out one after another. After today, Tsunade's title may change. The legendary Big Fat Sheep no longer exists, and a new star of Konoha's God of Gamblers is rising. However, the title of Konoha God of Gamblers is only valid until Tsunade goes to the casino alone next time. After all, with Tsunade's luck, if Naoki Asakawa is not here next time, there may be no other outcome than losing everything. Tsunade-sama, you came out so soon. Uzumaki Kushina said in surprise. It's only been less than half an hour. Did Tsunade-sama lose all their bounty so quickly? Judging from the bright smile on Lady Tsunade's face, she must have won. But as the saying goes, a gambling dog will only leave the casino so quickly after losing all. If it wins, the gambling dog can stay in the casino for a day. Others also looked at Tsunade curiously, and Naoki's face was filled with disbelief. Sister, he actually won in the casino. Okay, let's go back to my tent first. Tsunade took the lead and led everyone to a large tent in the center. As the backbone of the Fire Nation's frontline, Tsunade's tent was one of the largest tents, and it was single-person, enough for 9 people to come in without being crowded. Okay, as agreed, all the money I win will be given to you. Tsunade took out a scroll, unfolded it, and channeled the 20 wads of money stored in it. This is the 20 million taels I won with 400,000 taels this time. Tsunade said with a smile. Tsunade-sama, these are too many. We just borrowed 400,000 taels, and we just need to get the principal back. Everyone looked at the 20 stacks of silver notes and felt as if their eyes were dazzled. Every piece of money here has a face value of 10,000 taels, and one stack is 1 million taels. Half an hour ago, they lent 400,000 taels to Tsunade. Unexpectedly, in just half an hour, the amount had increased 50 times. Don't worry, I keep my word, the money I win is all yours. Tsunade said nonchalantly. She didn't really go to the casino to win money. As a princess of the Senju clan and a descendant of the first Hokage, she was not short of money. She just liked gambling since she was a child and liked this exciting feeling. Asakawa, I'll leave the money to you. I'll go find Orochimaru first. Tsunade looked at Asakawa Naoki and said, without Asakawa Naoki, her luck would not have been so good. Apparently, Tsunade attributed her luck in winning money to Naoki Asakawa. As everyone knows, Asakawa Naoki never depends on luck, he relies on strength. Okay, teacher Tsunade. Naoki Asakawa nodded. Tsunade is not short of money, but he is. Don't show off your wealth, so be careful outside. Tsunade gave her final explanation and left the tent, leaving everyone in the tent behind. Chapter 71. Let's divide this money according to the proportion of principal investment. Asakawa Naoki said. Agreed. Everyone nodded. According to the capital contribution ratio, each person's principal is basically increased 50 times. Uchiha Makoto's principal of 100,000 taels was finally divided into 5 million taels, Naoki Asakawa's principal of 90,000 taels was divided into 4.5 million taels, and each of the others was divided into 1.5 million taels. 20 million taels may not seem like much, but it is actually a lot. You know, Asuma Sarutobi was a powerful Konoha Jonin who once protected the daimyo of the Fire Country, and was also the son of the Hokage. His bounty on the black market was only 35 million taels. It was equivalent to Tsunade winning most of Asuma directly in the casino this time. If the money-loving person knew about Asakawa Naoki's sword-wielding skills, he would definitely kidnap him and go to the casino every day to make money. Holding the banknotes in their hands, the eyes of everyone present were full of excitement, and there was a little bit of happiness in them. Fortunately, I gave the mission bounty to Tsunade-sensei just now. For ninjas of the ninja clan, a few million taels may not be a big deal, but for civilian ninjas like them who have just graduated, this 1.5 million taels may be half of their family's wealth. Only Naoki looked at Naoki Asakawa with a bit of doubt in his eyes. Naoki knew his sister's luck best. When Tsunade goes to the casino, it is impossible not to lose. This time, he was able to win 20 million taels with a principal of 400,000 taels. It was definitely Naoki Asakawa who did something. But now that there are so many people, it's hard for Shungshu to ask. He can only take the money and wait until he is alone before asking. Everyone remember what Tsunade-sensei said, don't show off your wealth. Asakawa Naoki reminded. Everyone hid the money in their pockets or backpacks, and when they left the tent, it was impossible to see that they were hiding a huge amount of money. Alright, let's go shopping first. Let's set up a tent when it gets late. Namikaze Minato said with a smile. No matter how precocious Minato Namikaze is, he is only a 10-year-old boy now. Who wouldn't be happy if he suddenly got a huge sum of money? Okay, everyone said in unison. The commerce on the front line is simple and the prices of items are relatively expensive, but basically everything is available. Nowadays, everyone has money, and most of them are children with lively natures. Basically, they will buy something they like on the spot when they see it. In the past, Naoki Asakawa basically spent all his money on food because he was short of money. Now he is not short of money, but he doesn't see anything he likes. In his peripheral vision, Asakawa Naoki saw a ninja shop and walked towards that shop. Boss, how do you sell these military grain pills? Naturally, Asakawa Naoki didn't come to the ninja tool shop to buy swords. His 2 flying swords were enough to deal with powerful enemies. He could just use the inferior sword when facing ordinary enemies. What he was interested in was the military rations sold in the ninja tool shop, pill. On the way from Konoha to the border of Fire Country, Naoshu's pack of hundreds of military ration pills, which was enough for an ordinary ninja to last for more than half a month, had already been eaten by him. Now that I see someone selling military food pills, I naturally want to buy more and stock up. Which one do you want to buy? Asked the owner of the ninja tool shop. Ordinary military grain pills come in 70 taels each. If you buy them in a pack, you can buy them in a pack of 6,000 taels or a pack of 100 pills. High-grade military ration pills, 130 taels each, a whole package of 12,000 taels, and a package of 100 pills. Asakawa Naoki took a look and saw that the high-grade military food pills were exactly the same as the high-grade military food pills given by Naoshu. As for the low-grade military food pills, judging from their appearance, they probably tasted worse than the high-grade ones. Naoki Asakawa can tolerate the bad taste, but the key is that the low-grade Bingliong pills may provide less energy. Naoki-kun, are you buying military food pills? Uchiha Makoto walked up to Asakawa Naoki and asked curiously. Boss, why are the soldiers' food pills here so much more expensive than those in Konoha village? Uzumaki Kushina also came closer and asked directly. In Konoha, ordinary military food pills are basically 50 taels each, and high-grade military food pills are only 100 taels. There are discounts for buying more. The military food pills here are basically 30% to 40% more expensive. Become children, you must be newly graduated ninjas. The boss explained with a smile. This is not Konoha. War can break out at any time. It's very dangerous. I'm risking my life to do business here, and I will definitely make more money. I only increase the price by 40%, which is considered a conscience. Uzumaki Kushina wanted to say something else, but after thinking about it, it seemed that this was indeed the case. When doing business in such a dangerous place, it seems normal for the prices of goods to be a little higher. First give me 10 packs of high-grade military ration pills. Asakawa Naoki took out 12 10,000 tael silver notes. He has seen this kind of markup selling many times in China. Food in scenic spots and amusement parks even sells for 4 or 5 times the price. Comparatively speaking, when doing business in such a dangerous place, the boss only increased the price by 40%, which seems to be a good conscience. Okay, guest. The boss took the banknote with a smile, suddenly remembered something, and said to Naoki Asakawa. This guest, you bought so many Bingliong pills, do you need higher grade Bingliong pills? Among the high grade military food pills, are there even higher grade ones? Naoki Asakawa asked curiously. Of course, the boss nodded. Those are special grade military ration pills that are more effective than high grade military ration pills. They are tailor-made by the Nara clan for the Akamiki clan. A lot of medicinal materials cultivated by the Nara clan are used to make the special grade military ration pills, so the effect of the special grade military ration pills is quite overbearing. Even for a ninja, one pill is enough to be worth a meal, and it can also speed up the process of chakra recover. Quote, because the output is relatively high, in addition to supplying the Akamiki clan, there is still a lot of surplus. I happen to have some cooperation with the Nara clan, so I have special military food pills. But, because of the medicinal materials used, the price of the special military grain pills is relatively high. Oh, Naoki Asakawa became interested and asked, how much does one cost? Can you take one first and let me try it out? 1,000 taels per piece. If customers buy in large quantities, they can get a 10% discount. The boss smiled and took out a pack of Bingliong pills with a more exquisite packaging than high-end Bingliong pills. When he opened the package, there were Bingliong pills that were the same size as ordinary Bingliong pills but were red in color. After opening it, the boss generously took out one and handed it to Asakawa Naoki. Although this kind of special military food pill is very effective, it has been overstocked in his store for a long time because of its low price. If he could sell it now, he wouldn't mind making less money and selling it to Naoki Asakawa. Taking the Bingliong pill, Asakawa Naoki ate it in one bite. Except for the slight medicinal smell, it tasted just like ordinary Bingliong wan. But after swallowing it, the huge energy in the special soldier food pill exploded, and was quickly transformed into essence under the quenching of the essence fire, and then was refined into mana. The quenched essence in this special grade military ration pill is more than 3 times that of the high grade military ration pill. After slightly quenching the essence contained in the special grade military food pills, Asakawa Naoki's eyes showed a bit of joy. The difference between special grade military food pills and high grade military food pills is like a bowl of beef and a bowl of rice. You can fill your stomach if you eat them, but the energy of beef is more. As expected of the Nara clan, they added various medicinal materials to create a special military food pill tailor-made for the Akamiki clan. Naoki Asakawa sighed in his heart. If ordinary people or ordinary ninjas use this kind of special military food pills to replace their daily food, I am afraid they will gain weight in a short time. The energy contained in the special military food pills is too much, far beyond what ordinary ninjas can consume. However, Naoki Asakawa does not have this trouble. His essence fire will quench all the excess energy into essence, which will then be converted into mana by the basic chi refining technique. What really limits the growth rate of Naoki Asakawa's mana is his satiety. The number of military food pills he can eat in a day is limited. But if you replace the high-grade military food pills with special-grade military food pills and eat the same amount every day, Asakawa Naoki can obtain about 3 times the energy, and the mana growth rate is much faster than before. How is it? Do you want to buy it? The boss said with a smile. Looking at Asakawa Naoki's expression, the boss knew that this business was probably stable. At this moment, the boss also regretted that he had raised the price too early. He should have waited for Naoki Asakawa to taste it first before raising the price to sell more. However, it would be great if we could get Naoki Asakawa as a customer at this price. Most ninjas don't like to eat military food pills. Even if they buy military food pills, they only buy some high-grade military food pills. Almost no one buys the expensive special-grade military food pills. After all, although ninjas are rich, they are not taken advantage of. At this time, the boss also made up his mind. After selling out this batch of special military food pills, he would never buy them again. It was really difficult to sell them. Buy, how much? Naoki Asakawa nodded. Now that he has money, he doesn't care much about the price. Anyway, one piece is only 900 taels, and 100 pieces is only 90,000 taels. There are still 10 packets in total. How many packets does the customer want? The boss asked with a smile. I want them all, Naoki Asakawa said, and I hope the boss can help me buy some more goods. 10 packs of Special Forces food pills are quite a lot for ordinary people. After all, even if a ninja eats all 3 meals of soldiers, food pills, 10 packs of soldiers, food pills are enough for a ninja to eat for a year. But for Asakawa Naoki, he might have to eat nearly 20 pills a day, and 10 packs of military food pills can only last more than a month. The customer's appetite is quite big. The boss smiled and said, 10 packs of Special Forces food pills, a total of 900,000 taels. Next time I go back to Konoha, I will help the guests buy 10 more bags. Then thank you, boss. Naoki Asakawa took out a stack of banknotes, counted 90 out of them and handed them to the boss. You're welcome. The boss smiled. Adding the 2 kinds of military grain pills together, one order would reach over 1 million taels, which was no longer a small amount. Naturally, such customers would stay as long as they could. Naoki-kun, do you like to eat bingliangwan? After leaving the ninja shop, Uchiha Makoto asked curiously. The taste of bingliangwan is really unflattering. Unless the war is urgent and cooking is impossible, no ninja would be willing to eat bingliangwan. The 10 packs of high-grade and 10 packs of special military ration pills in Asakawa's hands would take an ordinary ninja 2 years to eat. No way, my digestion speed is too fast, maybe it will be better in the future. Asakawa Naoki said with a smile. It's almost night, should we go back and set up the tent? Kushina said after checking the weather. Wait a little longer, they haven't finished shopping yet. Asakawa Naoki said after looking at Nawaki and Namikaze Minato who were still shopping. By the way, don't you buy some clothes? Asakawa Naoki suddenly asked. Girls generally like to buy clothes, but the 2 girls he is most familiar with, Makoto and Kushina, seem to wear quite simple clothes. Uchiha Makoto wears black clothes all year round, while Uzumaki Kushina wears a pair of ninja lining and a yellow coat, although both of them look good in their clothes. It's Naoki who should buy clothes, Uzumaki Kushina said helplessly. Because he was too poor in the past and spent all his money on food, Asakawa Naoki didn't have many sets of clothes, and his black clothes were almost turning white after washing. But this is also because Asakawa Naoki doesn't care much about appearance. For him, as long as the clothes are comfortable, it's fine. Naoki-kun, it's really time to buy some clothes that fit you well. Uchiha Makoto chuckled. Let's go, Makoto, let's take Naoki to buy some clothes. Uzumaki Kushina directly grabbed one of Asakawa Naoki's hands. Okay, Uchiha Makoto grabbed Asakawa Naoki's other hand, his voice was soft but unquestionable. Naoki Asakawa now finally knows what it feels like to be taken by 2 female friends to choose clothes. However, I have to lament that Kushina and Makoto do have much better vision than Asakawa Naoki. When he left, Naoki Asakawa was still dressed in black, and the Konoha forehead protector was on his head as before, but he looked completely different from before entering the store. Asakawa, you have changed so much. When he saw Naoki Asakawa again, Naoki couldn't help but sigh. He was already handsome enough before, but now that he has changed his clothes, he feels incomparable. Even Kushina and Makoto's other female teammate, Kasaragi Seirei, are a little surprised. Naoki does look better after changing his clothes. Minato Namikaze agreed. Naoki Asakawa's condition is very good, he is tall and slender, and has a delicate appearance, but it was only delayed by his previous clothes. Of course, Kushina smiled proudly. Makoto smiled beside her and said nothing. Their vision was still good. Okay, let's set up the tent first, Asakawa Naoki said with a smile. After busy for a while, when the sun went down, the 9-person tent had been set up. Unlike the temporary tents for the 3-person team that had been set up before, on the front line of the Country of Fire, everyone was expected to stay for a long time, so the tents were all single-person tents with a certain amount of private space. However, everyone's tents are very close to each other, so they can help each other with anything. After eating, everyone returned to the tent and began to practice. Asakawa Naoki ate a special military food pill, and the essence fire in his body burned more and more vigorously. He took out a special small bag, and inside was a short black hair and a short brown hair, which were the hairs of his former classmate Hyuga Goji and his current teammate Nawaki. Asakawa Naoki took out another long blonde hair from the pocket of his old clothes. He pulled it out in the casino when Tsunade was excited about winning money. If he didn't get Tsunade's hair, Asakawa Naoki would naturally choose the rope tree. But now that he has Tsunade's hair, he naturally chooses Tsunade, who can better reflect the Senju bloodline. Thinking of this, Asakawa Naoki put away Naoki's short brown hair, took out the hair roots of Tsunade and Hyuga Goji, and started the second catalytic incarnation. Perhaps because of the fusion of yin style and yang style, Naoki Asakawa's second fusion was also quite smooth. Shortly after the fusion was completed, Naoki Asakawa sensed a figure wandering outside the tent, seemingly wanting to come in but struggling. "What's the matter, Naoki?" Asakawa Naoki opened the tent, and outside was Naoki, who was struggling with whether to ask him how to let Tsunade win the bet. Asakawa, Naoki didn't know whether to ask. However, Naoki Asakawa felt a chill at this moment, and the slightest raindrops fell. It was obviously sunny during the day, but why did it suddenly rain? And Naoki Asakawa, who has a keen sense, seemed to sense something in the rain. Not good. Asakawa, what did you say? Naoki didn't know why Asakawa Naoki suddenly became serious. His purpose of coming here hasn't been revealed yet. Before Asakawa Naoki could speak, the siren on the front line suddenly sounded loudly. Enemy attack. The Konoha ninjas on the front line rushed out of the tents one after another, but fell down one after another after inhaling the raindrops from the sky. This rain is poisonous. Where is the wind release ninja? Blow this rain away first. Quote. The moment he felt the poison in the rain, Naoki Asakawa held his breath and quickly woke up Kushina and others. Fortunately, not long after the meal, everyone was still asleep, and soon left the tent and became alert. Naoki, what happened? Namikaze Minato asked. Rain Shinobi attacked. The rain is poisonous, Naoki Asakawa said. Stay next to me and don't move. After Asakawa Naoki finished speaking, the essence fire located in his heart began to burn violently, and everyone felt that the surrounding air suddenly became hot. The surrounding rainwater evaporated into white mist before it fell around them, and the toxins in the rainwater also lost their activity due to the high temperature and lost all their toxicity. In the center of Konoha's front line, 3 figures rushed out quickly. 2 of them rushed to the front without looking back after seeing that Asakawa Naoki and others were okay. The last figure, wearing a black combat uniform, wearing a Konoha forehead protector, and a somewhat pale complexion, stood at the high point of the tent. It was Orochimaru. Feeling the traces of toxins contained in the raindrops in the sky, Orochimaru's face looked quite bad. While organizing the surrounding ninjas with well-preserved combat power, Orochimaru began to form seals. Rainwater is poisonous, please reduce your breathing. Wind release ninjas, gather around me. After gathering a dozen wind escape ninjas, Orochimaru finally completed the seal. Use the combined wind release ninjutsu to blow away this rain cloud. Yes, Orochimaru-sama. Wind escape, great breakthrough. As Orochimaru spit out a hurricane, the rest of Konoha's wind escape ninjas joined in. Wind release, blast wind. Wind escape, great breakthrough. Quote. The wind escapes of many ninjas merged into Orochimaru's hurricane, and it seemed as if a typhoon was blowing on the Konoha front line. The toxin-containing rain clouds in Rain Shinobi village were directly blown to other locations by the strong wind, but the situation on the Konoha front line was still not optimistic. Because the attack on Rain Shinobi village was too sudden, the vigilant ninjas on the front line were eliminated before they had time to raise the alarm, resulting in a large number of Konoha ninjas on the front line being poisoned. Although Jiraiya and Tsunade went to support immediately, they were still suppressed by the more numerous Rain Shinobi. Be careful yourselves. Orochimaru confessed to Asakawa, Naoki and others, and then looked at the surrounding Konoha ninjas who still had full combat power. For those ninjas who are still capable of fighting, join me in resisting Rain Shinobi. After saying that, Orochimaru took the lead and rushed to the front line where Jiraiya and Tsunade were, and then many Konoha ninjas who were not poisoned or were slightly poisoned followed Orochimaru. Everyone, what should we do? Shen Shu said excitedly. Although there was a fight with the Ronins before, it was just a mission, but now it was a real war. Seeing that almost all the Konoha ninjas around him rushed to the front for support, Naoki naturally wanted to go to the front as well. If I can defeat Rain Shinobi in this battle, I should soon become a hero of Konoha, and then become a Hokage step by step. Rotri's thoughts are not uncommon among these fledgling genin. On the one hand, the Ronin they faced on their first mission went too smoothly, and on the other hand, this extreme stimulation made them hot-headed and unable to calm down. But fortunately there are still people who can stay sane. We haven't even learned a few ninjutsu, so it's better to stay here and not distract Mr. Orochimaru and the others. Naoki Asakawa said. It would be okay if he was alone. With his sword-wielding skills, even if he couldn't beat him, Asakawa Naoki could escape in time. But others, Uchiha Makoto and Namikaze Minato may have the strength of Chunin, but Naoki and the others are standard genin, and can hardly know any other ninjutsu except Sanshinjutsu. This kind of genin is not even cannon fodder in such a war. Indeed, all we can do now is protect ourselves. Namikaze Minato nodded. Naoki-kun is right, our strength is still too weak. What we should do is to protect ourselves and let Tsunade-sensei and others fight with peace of mind. Uchiha Makoto agreed. Okay, we get it. Now Shu calmed down a little and nodded. Then let's find a place to hide first, Asakawa Naoki said. However, just when everyone was about to find a place to hide, a group of 10 ninjas wearing black cloaks and hats from behind quickly chased them. Why didn't they go to the front line? Naoki asked with some confusion. Didn't Orochimaru just say that all those who are capable of fighting must go to the front line? They are not Konoha ninjas. Naoki Asakawa, who has good eyesight, saw clearly the 4 vertical bars on their forehead protectors and continued. They're Rain Shinobi. What? Masamura Oki's eyes were full of shock and fear, and his voice was trembling as he said. How did they get around the front? Have the ninjas in the front been defeated? No, the front should still be fighting. They don't know where they came from. Namikaze Minato said, if the front is defeated, there should be many Konoha ninjas fleeing this way. Then what should we do now? Uzumaki Kushina asked, looking at Naoki Asakawa, and others also looked at Naoki Asakawa. Among the 3 teams and 9 genin, Naoki Asakawa is the tallest and strongest, and has become the leader of everyone. After the Battle of Wandering Ninja, everyone will instinctively think of Naoki Asakawa when they encounter danger. Let's escape forward first, Naoki Asakawa asked while leading everyone to escape. Which of you knows the wind release ninjutsu? I can, Namikaze Minato said as he ran. I can do it too, Uzumaki Kushina said, with excitement in her black pupils. Unexpectedly, the wind escape ninjutsu she has learned in the past few days will finally come in handy. She was finally able to help Asakawa Naoki. Okay, cooperate with my ninjutsu later, Naoki Asakawa said. Makoto, take them and run forward. Although I don't know the strength of this Rain Shinobi team, there is no need to be afraid of Naoki Asakawa, who has sword-wielding skills. Mainly his teammates, facing a team of 10 Rain Shinobi, even the strongest Uchiha Makoto and Namikaze Minato may not be able to escape alive, let alone the Whirlpool Kushina and the Rope Tree. As time goes by, the distance between the Rain Shinobi team and them is getting closer, and Naoki Asakawa is also calculating the distance between the 2 parties in his heart. At a certain moment, the distance between the Rain Shinobi team and Asakawa Naoki and others finally narrowed to the limit. You little brats of Konoha, your death is imminent. The leader, Rain Shinobi, took out several shurikens from his ninja tool bag and threw them directly at Asakawa Naoki and others. Although I don't quite understand why the group of newly graduated Konoha genin in front of me are going to the battlefield, as long as they are Konoha ninjas, they will be killed. Kushina, Minato, knew. When the leader Rain Shinobi threw the shuriken, Naoki Asakawa also gave the signal, and the remaining people fled forward. Only Asakawa Naoki, Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina stopped in place and quickly turned around to form seals. Oh, not only did you not run away, but you dared to attack us. There was a bit of sarcasm on Rain Shinobi's face. If they hadn't been on a mission, he would have really wanted to have fun with these newly graduated Konoha genin. Let's get rid of it quickly. Water-style water turbulence. Water-style water cannon technique. The three Rain Shinobi immediately performed seals, faster than Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina, who had just learned wind release ninjutsu. Before the two Kushinas completed the seal, the three Rain Shinobi's ninjutsu had already been completed, and two water jets and a water cannon hit the three of them. Don't underestimate its attack power just because of the water style. The ninja's water style ninjutsu is like the high-pressure water jet of the previous world. If you are hit by water jets and water bombs, you may be killed directly. Seeing that three water-style ninjutsu were about to hit three people and Kushina's wind release was not ready yet, Asakawa Naoki had no choice but to spray out a burst of orange flames first. The true fire of Samadhi, the fire of essence. Seeing the orange flames sprayed out by Naoki Asakawa, everyone in Rain Shinobi couldn't help but sneer in their hearts. Haha, facing our water style, instead of using the earth style ninjutsu that restrains the water style, we use the fire style ninjutsu that is restrained by the water style. This place itself is on the border of the land of rain. There is enough rain, and the power of water style is greatly increased. How dare you use fire style ninjutsu in a place like this? Konoha is destined to be defeated by us Rain Shinobi. Although the attacks from both sides had not yet come into contact, everyone in Rain Shinobi seemed to have seen Asakawa Naoki's Samadhi true fire being extinguished by water jets and water bombs, and then the three of them were defeated together. Is this the level of Konoha ninja? After taking care of these three weaklings, continue to take care of those who escaped. Captain Rain Shinobi made a decision in his mind and focused his attention on the escaping people. But at the next moment, when the Samadhi true fire came into contact with the three water-style ninjutsu, the scene where the flames were extinguished by water as expected by many Rain Shinobi did not appear. Instead, the terrifying temperature of the Samadhi fire evaporated the water-style ninjutsu, producing a large amount of water mist that blocked the sight of many Rain Shinobi. Not good. There's something wrong with this brat's fire-style ninjutsu. Get out of the way. At this moment, the Rain Shinobi finally realized that Asakawa Naoki's Samadhi Junha was not an ordinary fire-style ninjutsu, but by this time it was already too late. Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato's wind release ninjutsu are finally ready at this moment. Wind escape great breakthrough. Wind escape fire wind palm. On both sides of Asakawa Naoki, both of them activated their wind release ninjutsu at the same time. In an instant, the fire took advantage of the wind, and the wind assisted the fire. Under the urging of the two wind release ninjutsu, the terrifying power of the Samadhi true fire finally exploded, turning into a prairie fire phoenix that swallowed up all the Rain Shinobi who could not escape. Ah! The screams disappeared instantly after appearing. In the flames, the 5 Rain Shinobi had turned into ashes. What the hell is this fire-style ninjutsu? Although a Rain Shinobi escaped in time, his back was slightly contaminated by sparks. While feeling burning, he felt that his body's strength was rapidly draining. Quickly put out the fire. Water-style water turbulence. Another Rain Shinobi teammate tried to use water-style to help him put out the Samadhi true fire, controlling the power of the water chaos to hit his back. However, under the impact of the chaotic water waves, the true fire of Samadhi behind Rain Shinobi was not extinguished but intensified. After only a few seconds, this Rain Shinobi, entangled in the Samadhi true fire, followed the fate of several other Rain Shinobi and turned into ashes. Be careful, there's something wrong with this kid's fire style. Captain Rain Shinobi warned, his eyes full of coldness and a hint of fear. The flames that even the water-style ninjutsu can't extinguish, what the hell is this brat? I wonder what they would think if they knew that Asakawa Naoki's flame was not the complete true fire of Samadhi, but just the essence fire of one of Samadhi. In a sense, fire of essence is somewhat similar to Amaterasu, the strongest fire style. Amaterasu will not burn out until the target is burned, while essence fire uses the essence of the human body as fuel. If it burns other materials, such as clothes or buildings, the essence fire is relatively easy to extinguish. But if it is a person who is ignited, if the ignition site is not removed in time, it will burn crazily using essence as fuel. Not only will it quickly consume the body's strength, but it will also be almost impossible to extinguish. Seeing the power of the essence fire, Asakawa Naoki became more and more yearning for the chi fire and the divine fire. The essence fire alone is so powerful. When the gas fire and the divine fire are ignited, and the three fires merge into one to become the true fire of samadhi, the power will be unimaginable. Leave this guy to me. Captain Rain Shinobi looked at Naoki Asakawa with murderous intent in his eyes. If such a Konoha genius cannot be nipped in the cradle, the future of Rain Shinobi village will be in danger. You guys hurry up and finish off the others and then come help me. As the team leader gave orders, the remaining 3 Rain Shinobi felt a little lucky that they did not have to face the monster Naoki Asakawa. Yes, the 3 of them quickly rushed towards Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina. Although the 3 Rain Shinobi are not strong, they all have the strength of Chunin. The 3 Chunin are facing Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, who have just graduated from the ninja school. They are in danger. Asakawa Naoki was about to kill one of them first with his speed, but a sharp edge stabbed behind him. Feeling this dangerous aura, Naoki Asakawa could only pull out the zombie Teisho from behind and use a horizontal slash to deflect Captain Rain Shinobi's sneak attack. Your opponent is me. Captain Rain Shinobi looked at Naoki Asakawa with determination in his eyes. Even the 3 pillars of Konoha's front line, Jiraiya, Orochimaru and Tsunade, were not as dangerous in his eyes as Naoki Asakawa in front of him. Captain Rain Shinobi, who understands the strength of Rain Shinobi's leader, demigod, Sanshoyu Hanzo, knows deeply that even Jiraiya and the 3 of them cannot defeat the demigod. But if the kid in front of you is given time to grow up, the future Rain Shinobi village will be in danger. Asakawa Naoki didn't say anything. It was clear that these Rain Shinobi were here to attack. Why did he say such decisive words to make himself seem like the villain? Go to hell. Knowing the horror of Naoki Asakawa's fire-style ninjutsu, Captain Rain Shinobi didn't give him a chance to release his fire style. He directly attacked Naoki Asakawa with his sword skills. This guy is so strong. Captain Rain Shinobi is close to 30 years old, in his prime, when he is at his strongest and has the most chakra. But even in his prime, when he was fighting with Asakawa Naoki, his palms felt numb. His strength was far inferior to Asakawa Naoki. What's going on with this guy? Captain Rain Shinobi felt a little numb. This guy looked like he was in his teens. He was hanging out with the guys who had just graduated from the ninja school. He thought he was a genin. But not only are most of the members of the fire-style ninjutsu killing team now so strong in physical skills in close combat. Such a genius must be killed. Captain Rain Shinobi's belief became firm again. Fortunately, although Naoki Asakawa is powerful in fire-style ninjutsu and has amazing physical skills and reaction speed, he only lacks combat experience. This is why Captain Rain Shinobi feels that he has a chance to kill this Konoha monster. But the fact is that a lot of Asakawa Naoki's energy is restrained by the safety of Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato. On the battlefield not far away, facing the siege of 3 Rain Shinobi, Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato were struggling to hold on, as if they would be defeated in the next second. Even though Namikaze Minato's fighting awareness far exceeds that of ordinary ninjas, and Uzumaki Kushina has the blood of the Uzumaki clan, the amount of chakra far exceeds that of the 3 Rain Shinobi. But after all, the 2 of them were genin who had just graduated from the ninja school. They had only experienced 1 battle against Ronin and lacked experience in fighting ninjas. Facing the siege of 3 Chunin, it is very valuable for the 2 of them to remain undefeated. Can't wait any longer. Asakawa Naoki looked at the 2 of them. The flying sword that had been trembling in his sleeve was about to fly out, and a huge fireball sprayed towards the 3 Rain Shinobi who were surrounding Kushina and Minato. Makoto. When he saw Uchiha Makoto rushing back, Asakawa Naoki's hanging heart finally dropped, and the flying sword in his sleeves that was ready to go also calmed down. Sword control is his greatest killer move, but he still doesn't want to use it unless absolutely necessary. After all, information is very important to ninjas. Not to mention being known by the enemy. Even if someone in Konoha knows about his sword-wielding skills, it is difficult to explain. Samadhi true fire can also be explained as the fire-style great fireball technique left to him by his parents, but the sword control technique cannot be explained at all. And Uchiha Makoto's strength, even without opening Sharingan, is enough to deal with Rain Shinobi, a Chunin's strength. If the double Magatama Sharingan is turned on, Uchiha Makoto's strength can even defeat a Rain Shinobi quickly. This is the power of Sharingan. After Uchiha Makoto entered the field, the pressure on Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato dropped sharply. Although the three of them are still suppressed by the three Rain Shinobi, the situation is much better and they can at least hold on for a while. And Naoki Asakawa needs just this little time. One of his teammates actually came back. Seeing that Uchiha Makoto had stabilized the situation over there, the three Rain Shinobi were unable to end the battle quickly. The sword in the hands of the Rain Shinobi captain became sharper and continued to attack Naoki Asakawa from various tricky positions. Don't be anxious, take your time. There is no need to worry about the situation on Kushina's side of the whirlpool for the time being. Naoki Asakawa can finally deal with Captain Rain Shinobi with all his strength. Facing this Jonin's powerful Rain Shinobi captain, Asakawa Naoki did not intend to kill him with one blow, but planned to use him as a whetstone. Slowly, although in the swordsmanship competition, Captain Rain Shinobi still had the upper hand, suppressing Naoki Asakawa. But for some reason, Captain Rain Shinobi always feels weird. Obviously, he was really relying on his strong battle experience to suppress Asakawa Naoki. Asakawa Naoki could only rely on his huge strength and extremely fast reactions to deal with it, and he couldn't even do that weird fire-style ninjutsu, release. But he discovered that Naoki Asakawa's strength to swing his sword seemed to be getting weaker and weaker, and his reaction speed was not as fast as before. As this guy exhausted, Captain Rain Shinobi was delighted. But soon, he suddenly discovered that even though his strength became smaller and his reaction speed slowed down, Asakawa Naoki was still the same as before, barely coping with his offensive. This guy is using me as a whetstone. After realizing this fact, Captain Rain Shinobi felt a chill in his heart. If we talk about the two indicators of close combat, strength and skill, strength is one's own strength, speed and reaction, while skill is combat experience and combat skills. At the beginning, due to the lack of technique, that is, the lack of combat experience and skills, Naoki Asakawa used the greatest power, relying on powerful strength and extremely strong reaction speed to deal with the attack of Captain Rain Shinobi, and achieved use strength to defeat cleverness. So now, Naoki Asakawa is reducing the use of force, reducing his strength and reaction speed, but he can rely on his gradually stronger skills to deal with Captain Rain Shinobi. When Naoki Asakawa can maintain the same strength and reaction speed as Captain Rain Shinobi, and can still receive his attacks, it means that Naoki Asakawa's skills have reached the level of Captain Rain Shinobi. At this moment, Asakawa Naoki's power is close to that of Captain Rain Shinobi, which shows that his experience in close quarters sword fighting is also close to that of Captain Rain Shinobi. Are you using me to gain combat experience? Captain Rain Shinobi said in disbelief. Are you realizing it now? Naoki Asakawa chuckled. Captain Rain Shinobi quickly distanced himself from Naoki Asakawa. This guy is too terrifying. If he cannot take down this kid quickly, all his attacks will become food for Asakawa Naoki to increase his combat experience. At this moment, although he didn't want to face Naoki Asakawa's weird fire-style ninjutsu, he had no other choice. Captain Rain Shinobi quickly formed the seal while keeping distance. Even though the seal was not slow, it still took nearly 10 seconds to complete the seal. Water-style water dragon bullet technique. The moment ninjutsu was activated, the surrounding water vapor quickly condensed, and a ferocious water dragon appeared in front of Rain Shinobi, biting Naoki Asakawa directly. Samadhi is really hot. Facing the water dragon, Naoki Asakawa sprayed out a stream of orange flames. The water dragon condensed by Jonin is far more powerful than the water-style ninjutsu condensed by 3 Chunin. When water and fire meet, they actually cancel each other out, creating a large amount of white mist. Chakra is disturbed. In the mist, Captain Rain Shinobi should have been at home like a fish in the water, but he was unable to sense anything at the moment. Instead, his sight was blocked by the mist. Just when Captain Rain Shinobi was about to leave the scope of the mist, he saw a figure whose height and build were the same as Naoki Asakawa. Go to hell. With the cover of water mist, Captain Rain Shinobi spit out a rapid water bomb. The water bomb penetrated the figure without any hindrance, but at this moment, Captain Rain Shinobi's instinct to survive on the battlefield sensed a life and death crisis. In the back, relying on instinct, Captain Rain Shinobi blocked the sword behind his back. But the next moment, with a crisp sound of weapons connecting, Captain Rain Shinobi's sword was cut off directly. In front of Naoki Asakawa's inferior sword with thunder in his palm, Captain Rain Shinobi's sword was still too fragile. You're useless. As a feeling of pain and numbness came, Captain Rain Shinobi's eyes fell into darkness. At this point, a Rain Shinobi Jonin fell on the battlefield. After thinking about it, Asakawa Naoki found a ninjutsu scroll from Captain Rain Shinobi, and also found 50,000 taels of silver notes from him. Finally, he snapped his fingers, and a spark fell on Captain Rain Shinobi. The sparks suddenly became violent when they touched the skin, burning his body to ashes in the blink of an eye. On the other side of the battlefield, after Uchiha Makoto joined, the pressure on Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato suddenly decreased a lot. After seeing Naoki Asakawa being suppressed by Captain Rain Shinobi, Uchiha Makoto did not hesitate to activate the double Magatama Sharingan. She had to quickly deal with the Rain Shinobi in front of her, and then go to help Naoki Asakawa. Sharingan, you are from the Uchiha clan. Rain Shinobi, who was fighting Uchiha Makoto, said in shock. You know it's too late. With the blessing of Sharingan, Uchiha Makoto's strength skyrocketed, and every move of Rain Shinobi who fought with him was seen. Water-style water turbulence. Rain Shinobi distanced himself and took the opportunity to form a seal to activate ninjutsu, but Uchiha Makoto was already prepared. Fire-style great fireball technique. The Uchiha Makoto seal sprayed out an orange fireball, and then quickly reached into the ninja bag. The water column meets the fireball. Uchiha Makoto's great fireball is not Asakawa Naoki's Samadhi true fire, but Rain Shinobi's water chaos is not Jonin's water dragon bullet. Due to attribute restraint, Rain Shinobi's water style should have been stronger, but the hastily formed seals cancelled each other out, and neither one was able to suppress the other. Before the mist produced by the collision of water and fire appeared, Uchiha Makoto had already thrown several shurikens at Rain Shinobi who was not ready yet. Ding ding. Rain Shinobi held a kunai and blocked the shurikens one by one. Just when he was about to look for Uchiha Makoto's figure in the mist, he suddenly felt a pain in his neck, and warm blood spurted out from the severed neck artery. Behind him, a shuriken blocked by his kunai was being pulled by a very thin wire. The murderer was this shuriken. Is this the throwing technique of the Uchiha clan? Rain Shinobi's eyes gradually lost their light, and Uchiha Makoto rushed towards the whirlpool Kushina without any delay. Among the three, with the blessing of the double Magatama Sharingan, Uchiha Makoto has the strongest combat power, followed by Namikaze Minato, while Uzumaki Kushina, who has the largest amount of chakra, has the lowest combat power among the three. During Rain Shinobi's violent attack, Uzumaki Kushina could only rely on her good physical skills to escape and block, looking very embarrassed. Fortunately, Uchiha Makoto solved the battle very quickly. After she joined the battlefield, the second place Rain Shinobi was quickly solved by the two of them. Rain Shinobi, who was the last one to fight with Namikaze Minato, suddenly became extremely stressed. Even during the battle, his eyes kept glancing towards Naoki Asakawa and Captain Rain Shinobi. As long as their captain can win, even the Whirlpool Kushina and Uchiha Makoto, plus the yellow-haired boy fighting with him, are not enough to defeat the captain. After all, their leader is Jonin from Rain Shinobi village. The strength gap between Jonin and Chunin is far greater than the strength gap between Chunin and Genin. Even the yellow-haired boy who can tangle with him, and the Uchiha ninja who activates the double Magatama Sharingan, can't get away with a few moves in the hands of the captain of Jonin. However, when the last Rain Shinobi placed all his hopes on Captain Rain Shinobi, the white water mist produced by the Samadhi True Fire and the water dragon bullet cancelling each other out gradually dissipated. When he saw that it was not the captain but Naoki Asakawa who slowly walked out of the mist, Rain Shinobi's eyes were full of disbelief. How is that possible? Good opportunity. Revealing a flaw in battle is the most fatal mistake. At the moment when Rain Shinobi was mentally negligent, the kunai in Namikaze Minato's hand pierced his heart directly, and then instantly distanced himself to prevent Rain Shinobi's dying counterattack. When death was imminent, this Rain Shinobi team, could not understand until his death why a group of genin who had just graduated were so strong. Is this Konoha genin? Does our country of Rain still have hope? With some reluctance and fear, the life of the last member of Rain Shinobi's team also disappeared. Is everyone okay? Naoki Asakawa looked at the three of them and said with concern. From the outside, the three of them were not bleeding or injured, but many injuries could not be seen from the outside. We are okay, are you okay? Uchiha Makoto asked worriedly. The strength of Rain Shinobi that the three of them dealt with was only about Chunin, and even Uchiha Makoto, who contributed the most, only consumed a lot of chakra. Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato were mainly physically exhausted. They used their arms to block Rain Shinobi's attacks a few times. They were still a little sore at the moment. In the eyes of everyone, the Rain Shinobi Captain Asakawa Naoki faced was not comparable to those Rain Shinobi. Not to mention the fierce offensive swordsmanship, the terrifying water dragon bullet technique can only be used by Jonin even in Konoha. Uchiha Makoto saw the strength of Captain Rain Shinobi, so he immediately activated the double Magatama Sharingan, preparing to defeat 3 Rain Shinobi before helping Naoki Asakawa. But they didn't expect that before their side was completely solved, Asakawa Naoki was even faster than them. Don't worry, I'm fine. Asakawa Naoki shook his head and said. Let's go meet Shungshu and the others first. Yeah, Kushina and the other 3 nodded. Although the consumption is quite high, the current situation on the battlefield is unclear, and Shungshu and the others have no fighting power. They have to join them first and then find a safe place to hide. They chased in the direction where Naoki and the others escaped. With their excellent physical skills and the fact that the battle was not long, Asakawa Naoki and the others quickly found Naoki and the others. Asakawa, are you okay? Naoki asked with concern, a little guilty in his tone. Obviously they are all graduates of the ninja school. Asakawa Naoki and others are younger than him, but they work with Makoto to resist the enemy, but he can only escape under their cover. At this moment, Naoshu's desire for strength reached its peak. Don't worry, we're fine. Asakawa Naoki said with a smile. The pursuers have been dealt with, let's find a safer place to hide first. Yes, everyone nodded and agreed to Asakawa Naoki's plan. When the sky gradually became brighter, the Konoha ninjas on the front line finally began to evacuate to the rear. However, among these Konoha ninjas, the proportion of injured was extremely high. Many of them were missing arms and legs, and they also had injuries caused by detonating charms and kunai. Even the faces of those Konoha ninjas who were not injured were full of sadness and coldness, and their brows were furrowed. This sudden attack by Rain Shinobi will probably cause heavy losses to Konoha. Naoki Asakawa sighed in his heart. Asakawa Naoki and others saw these injured ninjas. These injured Konoha ninjas also saw Asakawa Naoki and others who were in good condition. Their eyes stayed on the Konoha forehead protectors on their foreheads for a moment and then became cold. You little brat who is afraid of death. I don't know who cursed softly, with a bit of resentment in his voice. The other ninjas did not interrupt, seeming to acquiesce to his words. You guys, Asakawa and the others also killed a team of Rain Shinobi. Naoki said angrily. He can endure others scolding him because he did nothing. Faced with the attack, Rain Shinobi could only run away. But he doesn't allow others to insult Asakawa Naoki and the others with fear of death. It is obvious that Asakawa Naoki and the others are using their lives to delay the enemy for him. They are definitely not people who are afraid of death. You kid came to the front line and did nothing. Aren't you a coward? An injured Konoha ninja said slowly, and there was nothing on the right side of his shoulder. If nothing else happens, the future of this ninja who lost his right arm will be cut off. No wonder he felt resentful when he saw Naoki and the others who were intact or even without any injuries. I am afraid that many injured Konoha ninjas have this mentality. I didn't do anything, but Asakawa and Namikaze. Naoki still wanted to explain something. But the injured ninja had obviously lost his mind due to the injury and the ruin of his future. He actually raised his remaining left hand and prepared to slap the rope tree. Seeing this situation, Asakawa Naoki was about to take action to block it, but gave up the action after feeling a certain aura. Stop it. A figure appeared in front of the two of them using the teleportation technique, and his cold voice shocked the surrounding Konoha ninjas. It was Orochimaru. The moment Orochimaru appeared, the smell of blood around him was obviously much stronger, but judging from the injuries on his body, most of them should be from the Rain Shinobi attack. I asked them to stay here, do you have any objection? Orochimaru looked at the severed hand ninja and said coldly. I don't dare, the broken hand ninja said in a low voice, his attitude changing quite quickly. He really didn't dare to talk back to Orochimaru, who was not only the top commander on the front line but also surpassed everyone in strength. If the three Orochimaru hadn't arrived at the front line in time to block the pressure, I'm afraid the Fire Country front line would really have been breached by Rain Shinobi this time. If the front line is really breached, their casualties will probably be even more severe, and they will be held accountable when they return to Konoha. He is my brother, and they are our students. They came to the front line just after graduating from the ninja school. Do you have any objections? Two more figures came using the teleportation technique. It was Jiraiya and Tsunade with a frosty face. After fighting at the front line for a night, she didn't expect to see a wounded man bullying his younger brother when he returned to the rear. Tsunade, who had a bad temper, didn't punch the wounded man, which was considered a good temper. Tsunade-sama, I'm sorry, I didn't know he was your brother. The wounded man with the severed hand apologized sincerely, but this time he really meant it. This is also the thinking inertia of most ninjas. If Naoki is just a civilian ninja without any background, then being on the front line but not going to the battlefield will indeed be considered a coward who is afraid of death. But Naoki's identity is Tsunade's younger brother, the future heir of the Senju clan. With such a noble status, being able to go to a dangerous place like the front line alone is actually quite remarkable. Like the heirs of the Hyuga clan, they are usually protected by a large number of branch house ninjas when they come to the front line. As for Naoki himself, he doesn't have any consciousness of being a disciple of a big family. When getting along with Naoki Asakawa and others, he doesn't look like the future heir of the Senju clan at all, but more like an enthusiastic civilian ninja. No, it's not me you need to apologize for. I really didn't do anything, Shenshu said slowly. He could not accept the apology from the injured. The people you want to apologize to are my teammates. They really fought with Rain Shinobi. Sorry everyone, I was too impulsive. The wounded man whispered, but he didn't think that they really fought with Rain Shinobi. Lord Orochimaru, 3 Rain Shinobi corpses were found here. A ninja reporting suddenly said. Where? Orochimaru asked with a frown. Just behind our camp, the reporting ninja said. Did they really kill a Rain Shinobi team? The injured man with a severed hand couldn't believe it. But the fact is so absurd. On the one hand, he doesn't believe that newly graduated genins like Naoki Asakawa can have the strength to kill Rain Shinobi, but on the other hand, he is resentful that they did not go to the battlefield and hide in the rear. Perhaps, only by letting Asakawa Naoki and others go to the battlefield and die in battle can he feel more balanced because his future was ruined due to a broken arm. Okay, you go to heal your wounds first, Asakawa, Naoki, you follow me. After Orochimaru said that, he went to the central camp with Jiraiya and Tsunade. Asakawa Naoki and others followed Orochimaru obediently and entered the central camp together. After entering the camp and not being exposed to those Konoha ninjas, the 3 Orochimaru finally stopped tensing themselves up and looked a little more tired. In front of these Konoha ninjas, as the frontline commanders and pillars, the 3 Orochimaru must face them in their best condition, so as to stabilize the morale of the army. Only in private space can they show their true situation. After entering the camp, Orochimaru began to report the battle on the scroll. Rain Shinobi's sneak attack was quite clever, hiding the poison of the Sansho fish in the rain clouds and letting it float towards the Konoha camp. When the Konoha ninjas discovered it, most of them were already poisoned and their combat power was severely reduced. Coupled with the large number of Rain Shinobi attacking, this battle for the Konoha ninjas was so difficult. However, this is also related to the laxity of the ninjas on the front lines of Konoha. The investigating ninjas did not discover the toxins in the rain clouds at all. Orochimaru and the others arrived too late. They encountered a sneak attack from Rain Shinobi village before they had time to rectify the frontline ninja military discipline. However, they arrived just in time. If they hadn't turned the tide, I'm afraid Konoha's frontline would have been really in danger this time. Orochimaru faithfully wrote the battle situation in the scroll, and soon the scroll would appear on the desk of Hiruzen Sarutobi at 3rd Hokage. I don't know how many frontline ninjas in power will be held accountable for this. Naoshu, tell me what happened to you after we left. Tsunade looked at Naoshu and asked, with a little more interest in her beautiful eyes. Jiraiya also looked at Asakawa Naoki and others with some interest. According to the reporting ninja, 3 Rain Shinobi corpses were found behind them. Could it be that Minato and the others have been able to defeat Chunin? He is indeed the person predicted by the great Toad Sage to change the world. After you left, we were just about to find a safe place to hide. Shungshu recalled the situation last night and said in detail. But it didn't take long before we ran into a group of Rain Shinobi who appeared behind us. Quote. On the basis of the rope tree, Namikaze Minato added some battle situations and completely described the situation last night. Can Asakawa actually know the great fireball jutsu? Orochimaru, who was still writing materials, said with some surprise. When using Samadhi True Fire, Asakawa Naoki's seal was the great fireball technique. Although Namikaze Minato was a little surprised by the power of Samadhi True Fire, he didn't pay much attention to it and just thought it was the blessing of fire-style ninjutsu by Feng Dun. Relatively strong. Yes, Mr. Orochimaru, that is a relic left to me by my parents. Naoki Asakawa nodded. I see, Orochimaru nodded. This time you wiped out a Rain Shinobi team, I will record an A-level mission for you. Killing 10 Rain Shinobi can indeed be considered an A-level mission. But if Orochimaru knew that the Rain Shinobi captain was Jonin, this mission should not be just an A-level mission, but an S-level mission. The gap between Jonin and Chunin was so big that Orochimaru never thought that Asakawa Naoki and the others killed the Rain Shinobi team led by Jonin. You did a good job, Jiraiya said with a smile. Seeing how good his disciples were, he felt that the fatigue on the battlefield was reduced a lot. Not long after graduating from the ninja school, not only did they learn the ninjutsu taught by them, but they were also able to use wind release and fire-style ninjutsu with their teammates. Even in the eyes of the Orochimaru 3, they had already done a good job. You did a good job, Tsunade also praised. Of course, don't be discouraged, Naoki. Obviously, Tsunade also saw the frustration in Naoki's heart because he could only run away because he could not help, and then comforted. It is precisely because we want to protect others that we desire to become stronger. As long as we have this belief, Naoki will definitely become a powerful ninja in the future. Thank you, sister, Shungshu said with a smile, his heart becoming more and more eager to become stronger. Okay, you haven't slept all night, so go and rest first. I may need your help later, Orochimaru said with a smile. We also have to prepare for the aftermath. Although the battle with Rain Shinobi has ended, the aftermath has not yet begun, and there is still a lot of work waiting for them. Asakawa Naoki and others returned to their tents, and then Jiraiya and Tsunade also walked out of the tents and walked in 2 directions. Jiraiya needs to go to the front to guard the shift to prevent Rain Shinobi's second sneak attack, while Tsunade needs to go to the medical team to help. In Konoha village, her medical ninjutsu is unrivaled. Only Orochimaru, after writing the report materials to the 3rd Hokage, still stayed in the central camp. Compared to Jiraiya and Tsunade, Orochimaru has a stronger view of the overall situation. Almost all matters on the front line need to go through his hands. He is the real commander of the front line and must sit at the center. However, even though it was Orochimaru who was said to be immortal in the future, his pale face could not hide his tired heart at this moment. The second ninja war is coming, Orochimaru said with emotion. I wonder how many ninjas will die this time. The situation in the ninja world was quite tense before. On the front lines of Rain Country and Fire Country, Rain Shinobi Village and Konoha Village faced each other. Now that Rain Shinobi takes the lead in attacking, and his whole body is affected by one move, the ninja world may not be at peace. In fact, 3 days later, after receiving Orochimaru's report, 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly held a high-level meeting in Konoha. At the meeting, after discussion, Konoha's top brass and many ninja clan leaders unanimously agreed to launch a war against the Kingdom of Rain. In fact, Konoha also had to go to war with Rain Shinobi. Not only to retaliate against Rain Shinobi, but more importantly to warn other major powers. In this sneak attack on Rain Shinobi village, Konoha suffered a small loss, and the other 4 major shinobi villages probably knew the result. If Rain Shinobi village and the Kingdom of Rain do not launch thunderous revenge, it may be difficult to suppress the other 4 major shinobi villages, peak at Konoha. While Konoha sent a large number of ninjas to the front lines of the Rain Kingdom, and the scale of the war with Rain Shinobi village expanded, the Earth Kingdom and the Wind Kingdom, which bordered the Rain Kingdom, also began to mobilize. The geographical location of the Kingdom of Rain is too critical. It is located between the Kingdom of Wind, the Kingdom of Fire and the Kingdom of Earth, and borders the 3 countries at the same time. Such a location has been a battleground for military strategists since ancient times. Even if they cannot conquer the Rain country and take it as their own, the other 2 great powers will not allow Konoha to get it. Rain Shinobi village and the country of Rain have also always wanted to take this opportunity to become the 6th largest country with their strength second only to the 5 major countries. Due to the imbalance of economic development and the rise of martial arts factions, the big countries and small countries began to compete with each other, and the Second Ninja World War also kicked off and officially began. But those are things for later. The sneak attack on Rain Shinobi village was just the trigger. Compared to Orochimaru, who was worried, Naoki Asakawa was much calmer. Having watched Hokage, he naturally knows that the Second Ninja War is inevitable. Now, he can only work hard to improve his strength, protect himself and those around him. It's time to see what we have gained this time. Naoki Asakawa took out the scroll found from Captain Rain Shinobi. Too bad it's all water-style ninjutsu. Naoki Asakawa felt a little regretful in his heart. Although the information scroll was not the most useless to him, he did not have water spiritual roots. Even if the Sage Jutsu scroll could confirm water-style ninjutsu into water-style Sage Jutsu, he would not be able to practice it. However, when he reached the end of the scroll and saw a ninjutsu, Asakawa Naoki suddenly smiled. Torture ninjutsu, deprivation of life and death. Naoki Asakawa did not expect that this Rain Shinobi village Jonin would even torture ninjutsu. I wonder what kind of Sage Jutsu torture ninjutsu can prove. Naoki Asakawa had some expectations in his heart. The so-called torture ninjutsu has no attributes. Strictly speaking, it tends to be yin style. For the Sage Jutsu that ninjutsu has no clear attributes, Naoki Asakawa has already learned how to turn enemies into soldiers, incarnations, and sword control, so there is a high probability that he can learn it even if he tortures ninjutsu. According to the description on the scroll, torture ninjutsu is to torture the mental will of the ninja. When the spirit is weak or even collapsed, it uses its own powerful mental power to forcibly invade the other party's mind and search for the information in the ninja's mind. Most torture ninjutsu requires one's own mental power to be stronger than the opponent's in order to invade the opponent's spirit, otherwise it will be easily counterattacked by the opponent. That's why it's necessary to torture his mental will and weaken his spirit before invading his mind. This is why many ninjas would rather die than be caught by enemy ninjas. Because death lasts only a moment, and torture is so torture that life is worse than death. Let's get started. Naoki Asakawa took out the Sage Jutsu scroll and recalled and tortured ninjutsu in his mind. After thinking for a while, Asakawa Naoki recalled the water-style ninjutsu training method learned by Captain Rain Shinobi. Although according to the description of the basic chi refining technique, it was impossible to practice water spells without water spirit roots, he still wanted to try it. Opening the Sage Jutsu scroll again, there are 2 more Sage Jutsu, soul-searching technique and 1 yuan heavy water. The soul-searching technique is almost the same as the torture ninjutsu. They both use mental power to invade the opponent's mental power to achieve the purpose of obtaining the opponent's memory. However, what is different from torture ninjutsu is that after mastering the soul-searching technique, the user can use mental power to control people whose mental power is weaker than themselves, which is equivalent to a combination of torture ninjutsu and genjutsu. 1 yuan heavy water is a water-type Sage Jutsu. After successful cultivation, it can refine tens of thousands of kilograms of water into 1 drop and turn it into 1 drop of 1 yuan heavy water. Even without much description, Naoki Asakawa can tell that this Sage Jutsu is powerful. Let's try practicing first. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Asakawa Naoki took 2 special forces food pills and started practicing the soul search technique in 1 yuan heavy water. He quickly learned how to search for souls, but he still couldn't figure out how to use Yuan heavy water. It seems that either one Yuan heavy water is relatively difficult to learn, or it's because I haven't completed the water spirit route yet, so I haven't been able to get started. Naoki Asakawa guessed in his mind. Forget it, it seems that the attack method of Samadhi True Fire is enough for now. 1 Yuan heavy water should wait until the breakthrough of refining chi to become a god and replenishing the spiritual roots. The most important thing now is to improve your cultivation first. Immersed in the practice, Asakawa Naoki was not woken up from practice until noon by the rope tree. After lunch and resting all morning, the 9 Asakawa Naoki were also sent by Orochimaru to help the medical class in charge of Tsunade. As for Jiraiya, it is still too dangerous to guard the front line. This group of newly graduated genin will not only be unable to help at the front, but it will also be a disservice. The medical team happened to lack a large number of manpower. Although Asakawa Naoki and his team did not know how to treat ninjutsu, they could at least help reduce the pressure on medical ninjas and let them experience the cruelty of war. After all, ninjas always grow up. Genin who just graduated may not go to the front line, but after growing up for a period of time and becoming a chunin, they will eventually go to the front line. The medical class is over here, and my sister is there too. Let's go help together. There was light in the eyes of Naoshu, who was sent to the medical class, and he felt like he was needed. Many members of the 3 teams had such smiles on their faces. They were unable to help when the Rain Shinobi team attacked, and now they can finally make some contribution to Konoha. But after entering the tent where the medical team was stationed, the smiles of several people disappeared and turned into silence. Because Rain Shinobi's attack was too sudden this time, and Konoha was successfully attacked by Rain Shinobi due to lack of preparation, resulting in an exceptionally large number of wounded this time. Under normal circumstances, the number of medical ninjas on the front line is actually sufficient. But in the face of such an emergency, the medical class was directly overcrowded. With limited medical resources, the current medical team can only give priority to treating seriously injured and dying ninjas. Ninjas with minor injuries can only be allowed to recover on their own first. Inside the medical class, the smell of blood and disinfectant was a bit pungent, but what was more terrifying than the smell was the injuries of the wounded. In the war, there are all kinds of wounded people. They are bleeding all over after being hit by the explosive talisman. Their skin is blistered due to being burned by fire-style ninjutsu. They have severed limbs and bleeding after being hit by water-style ninjutsu. The kunai and shuriken pierced the body, causing the organs and intestines in the stomach to flow out, and the most serious poisonous injuries. All kinds of horrific scenes shocked these genin who had just graduated from the ninja school. Even Naoki Asakawa, who had been born for 2 generations, had a bit of fear and intolerance in his eyes when he saw these wounded people, not to mention the others who had never even been to Konoha village, companions who have never seen war. No one spoke. The only sounds in the medical class were the painful groans of the patients and the commanding voices of the attending medical ninjas. As the main force of the medical team, Tsunade, who was using a chakra scalpel to sew up the wounds of a disemboweled ninja, noticed everyone. She kept moving her hands and asked without turning her head. "Rope Tree, why are you here?" Teacher Orochimaru asked us to help. Naoki Asakawa said. "That's just right. We are quite short of people here. Come and help." Tsunade nodded and said. "Please help transport the wounded to reduce the consumption of the medical ninja's physical strength and chakra. Every chakra of a medical ninja needs to be used where it should be used." "I know, Tsunade-sensei," everyone replied. After assigning tasks to several people, Tsunade continued to focus on treatment, and Naoki Asakawa and others also began to help the medical ninja do some physical work. The work of the medical class is quite busy. Everyone starts working after lunch at noon until the sun goes down in the evening. It was not until midnight that Tsunade finally announced that all endangered ninjas had been medically treated, and the pressure on the medical class was finally reduced. From now on, the mission of the medical team is to treat those seriously injured but not fatal for the time being. Although the number has greatly increased, the situation is finally not that urgent. When Asakawa Naoki and others moved the seriously injured ninjas to the specially cleared patient rooms, their work for the day was finally over and they could take a rest. When several people returned to the tent, Tsunade's disciple Kasaragi Qingling vomited out everything she had eaten at night. Ryu, are you okay? Uchiha Makoto and Uzumaki Kushina asked with concern. Asakawa Naoki and others also looked at Kasaragi Seirei with some worry. I'm fine. Ryu Qingling quickly waved her hands and said, I feel much better after spitting it out. Among the 9 disciples of Orochimaru, Jiraiya and Tsunade, only Tsunade accepted 3 female disciples. Uzumaki Kushina has experienced the tragedy of the destruction of the Uzumaki kingdom since she was a child. After entering Konoha Ninja School, she suffered isolation and bullying from her classmates. Her mental endurance is even higher than that of many adults. Uchiha Makoto has been very stable since he was a child, with few mood swings. Although he was a little disgusted by the tragedy in the medical class, he could still bear it. Only Kasaragi Seirei is just an ordinary civilian ninja. It is normal for him to be unable to bear and vomit when he sees this kind of scene for the first time. Even if I didn't vomit in the medical class immediately, but waited until the work was over before vomiting, it was already pretty good. Kasaragi Seirei's vomiting seemed to be a trigger. After seeing her vomiting, 2 of Minato Namikaze's teammates and 2 of Naoki Asakawa's teammates also vomited. Shungshu vomited quite violently and couldn't hold back his tears. He asked while vomiting and crying. Asakawa, is this why you want to change the ninja world? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.